Chapter 2163. Greetings, Sacred Lady. Mr. Mo, please have a seat. Senior Empress of the Mermaids, please come in. Seeing Mo Qingyun and the other two, the Thousand Moon official and the rest immediately stood up and bowed to Mo Qingyun and the other two. Mo Qingyun waved his hand indifferently at the greeting of the Thousand Moon official and the others. He said, "Thousand Moon official, since the trouble in Thousand Moon City has been resolved, we won't stay any longer. It's time to go to another city." "Mr. Mo, Sacred Lady, you're leaving?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the Thousand Moon official was stunned and a hint of reluctance flashed in his eyes. After this period of interaction, they were already used to Mo Qingyun leading everyone to fight against strong enemies. However, thinking of Qian Linglong's identity, the Thousand Moon official was relieved. As the Sacred Lady of the 1,000 Illusions, Qian Linglong's mission was to restore the glory of the 1,000 Illusions. Naturally, she had to conquer the other branches. Since the matter in Thousand Moon City had been resolved, there was no need for her to stay any longer. Master of the Thousand Moon official, the Thousand Moon Mansion has already set up the teleportation portal. If there's anything, I'll come over at any time. Seeing the change in the Thousand Moon official's expression, Mo Qingyun guessed what he was thinking and comforted him. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the Thousand Moon official felt more at ease and did not ask Mo Qingyun and the other two to stay any longer. "Mr. Mo, Sacred Lady, Empress of the Mermaids, I'll send you off." The Thousand Moon official made up his mind and gestured to Mo Qingyun and the other two to the teleportation portal. Then, under the escort of the Thousand Moon official and the rest, Mo Qingyun and the other two arrived at the teleportation portal. After bidding farewell to the Thousand Moon official and the rest, Mo Qingyun and the other two stepped into the teleportation portal and disappeared from everyone's sight. Whoosh! Mo Qingyun and the other two's vision blurred. When they could see clearly again, they had already arrived at the ancestral tomb of the Thousand Moon Mansion. After exiting the transmission array, Mo Qingyun's group of 3 did not stop and directly left the Thousand Words Residence's ancestral tomb. A short while later, Mo Qingyun's group of 3 arrived at the Thousand Language Manners meeting hall and found Thousand Language Dragon and the others. "Saint, Mr. Mo, you're back." Seeing Mo Qingyun's group arrive, Qian Yulong and the others were overjoyed. They hurriedly went to welcome Mo Qingyun's group. Under the escort of Qian Yulong and the others, Mo Qingyun walked to the top of the hall and sat down. "Family head Qian Yulong, has there been any unusual situation in Qian Yu City recently?" Mo Qingyun didn't beat around the bush and directly asked Qian Yulong after he sat down at the top of the hall. Qian Yulong bowed respectfully when he heard Mo Qingyun's question. He said, "Mr. Mo, everything in Qian Yu City has been stable recently. There have been no abnormalities." Qian Yulong's report made Mo Qingyun feel more at ease. He nodded with satisfaction. After reporting the situation in Qian Yu City, Qian Yulong frowned slightly and said, "We received some news from the Precious Treasure Pavilion. In the past month, the Dark Demon tribe in the surrounding cities seemed to have all evacuated to the main clan." "Oh, there's such a thing?" Mo Qingyun was startled. A trace of surprise flashed in his eyes. He was very surprised by this news. Originally, he was still wondering if the Dark Demon tribe had some secret plan and was preparing for a big counterattack. Now, it seemed like he was overthinking. Mo Qingyun pondered for a while and understood the Dark Demon tribe's plan. "If I'm not wrong, the 1,000 illusions of the Dark Demon tribe have all evacuated to the main clan. I think they want to have a life-and-death battle with me in the main clan." Hearing Mo Qingyun's analysis, Qian Yulong and the others nodded. They agreed with Mo Qingyun's words. "That's good too. It'll be much easier to reclaim the other cities." Knowing that the Dark Demon tribe had all evacuated, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly. He planned to play with the Dark Demon tribe slowly. Although the Dark Demon tribe had evacuated, Mo Qingyun didn't let his guard down. He said to Qian Yulong and the others, "Although the Dark Demon tribe has evacuated, there's no guarantee that this isn't a scheme of theirs. You can't let your guard down because of this." Yes. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Qian Yulong and the others nodded and stopped being careless. At this moment, Qian Yulong suddenly thought of another piece of news. He said, "Mr. Mo, we've received a rumor recently. There seems to be an anomaly in the main clan. It might be related to the arrival of a secret treasure from the outer realm." Secret treasure from the outer realm? Hearing Qian Yulong's report, Mo Qingyun's expression changed. He was very surprised by this news. As far as he knew, he had never heard of a secret treasure from the outer realm descending on the wild continent. "Okay, I got it." Mo Qingyun hesitated for a moment, then nodded to Qian Yulong and noted this down. Although he had heard from Qian Yulong that there was a possibility of a secret treasure from the outer realm descending, Mo Qingyun didn't plan to rush to the main clan. To him, reclaiming the 1,000 illusions was the most important thing. Nothing else mattered. Moreover, this was just a rumor. The possibility of it being true was too low. Next, Mo Qingyun chatted with Qian Yulong and the others for a while before leaving the Qian Yu residence. After leaving the Qian Yu residence, Mo Qingyun didn't go to the Jinxing Palace. Instead, he went directly to the Precious Treasure Pavilion. When he arrived at the Precious Treasure Pavilion, Mo Qingyun found Jingping and Qian Yulong and summoned them to a secret room. "How are things going with the branch?" After summoning Jingping and Qian Yulong to the secret room, Mo Qingyun asked them about the progress of the Precious Treasure Pavilion branch. Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's question, Jingping immediately reported everything to Mo Qingyun. "Mr. Mo, the branch in the Thousand Star City has been successfully opened. The branch in the Thousand Ink City is also in the final stages of preparation." "Good." Upon hearing Jingping's report, Mo Qingyun smiled satisfactorily and said, "Everything will continue as usual. Continue to open more branches and collect information about the Dark Demon race." "Yes." Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's instructions, Jingping nodded immediately and took out a storage bracelet. "Mr. Mo, this is some of the recent profit. Please take a look and count them." "There's no need." Mo Qingyun didn't take the storage bracelet from Jingping. Instead, he waved his hand at Jingping and said, "Use these immortal spiritual stones to collect some materials for setting up arrays and refining pills. The more the better. If there aren't enough immortal spiritual stones, I'll give you more." "Yes." Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's instructions, Jingping nodded and took the storage bracelet. After giving Jingping some instructions, Mo Qingyun took out a piece of paper and wrote down the various materials he needed. Chapter 2164. A few days later, Mo Qingyun and the others arrived at Thousand Rainbow City and found the Thousand Language City's Precious Treasure Pavilion branch. However, what surprised Mo Qingyun was that the Thousand Rainbow City's Precious Treasure Pavilion branch had turned into a pile of ruins. The Thousand Rainbow City branch was robbed? I wonder how the employees are doing? Seeing the scene in front of him, Mo Qingyun instinctively thought of the Precious Treasure Pavilion being robbed. At this moment, a few people with flustered expressions slowly walked toward Mo Qingyun. When these people arrived in front of Mo Qingyun, they revealed excited expressions and said in surprise, "Mo? Mr. Mo, you're really here. That's great." These people were all employees of the Thousand Rainbow City branch. They had all seen Mo Qingyun in Thousand Language City before. Hearing their words, Mo Qingyun turned to look at them and immediately recognized them. When Jin Wei ran to the Precious Treasure Pavilion to cause trouble, these people happened to be there. Mo Qingyun had some impression of them. "What's going on?" After greeting them, Mo Qingyun asked them what had happened in the Thousand Rainbow City branch. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the employees' expressions turned ugly. With angry expressions they said, "It's like this. Ever since the Dark Demon Race's troops left, the Thousand Rainbow Manor's strength has been greatly reduced. They can no longer suppress the Demon God Pavilion. Without other forces to keep the Demon God Pavilion in check, they became unscrupulous. They began to burn, kill, and rob everywhere, destroying the forces in Thousand Rainbow City. If it weren't for the Thousand Rainbow Manor's strength, they probably wouldn't have been able to escape this calamity and end up like us. After listening to the employee's explanation, Mo Qingyun nodded. He knew some of the situation in Thousand Rainbow City. Demon God Pavilion. Mo Qingyun narrowed his eyes. After thinking for a moment, he had a plan in his heart. Mo Qingyun asked, "Among you, who is the manager of the Thousand Rainbow City branch?" Reporting to Mr. Mo, "I am the manager of the Thousand Rainbow City branch, Zhang Ling." Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's question, an old man called Zhang Ling respectfully walked over to Mo Qingyun. Glancing at the old man before him, Mo Qingyun took out a storage bracelet and handed it to him, saying, "There are 1 billion celestial spiritual stones here. Take it. Settle everyone down first, then rebuild the treasure pavilion. I will tidy up the Demon God Pavilion." Yes. After receiving the storage bracelet from Mo Qingyun, Zhang Ling responded respectfully and began to gather the other employees. After settling down the employees of the Precious Treasure Pavilion's branch, Mo Qingyun did not linger. He turned his head and said to Qian Linglong and Qian Linglong, "It looks like Thousand Rainbow Manor's current situation is not very optimistic. Let's go over and take a look." After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he hurried over to Thousand Rainbow Manor with Qian Linglong and Qian Linglong. After a short while, Mo Qingyun and the other two arrived outside Thousand Rainbow Manor. They saw that the main gate of Thousand Rainbow Manor was tightly shut. Not only that, but Thousand Rainbow Manor's protective array was also activated. It looks like Thousand Rainbow Manor's current crisis is more serious than we thought. After seeing the situation of Thousand Rainbow Manor, Mo Qingyun couldn't help but sigh. He had a better understanding of Thousand Rainbow Manor's situation. If they hadn't been forced into a corner, given Thousand Rainbow Manor's status and strength, they definitely wouldn't have done such a thing. "Qingyun, what should we do now?" Qian Linglong's face was cold as she looked at Thousand Rainbow Manor in front of her. She asked Mo Qingyun for his opinion. After hearing Qian Linglong's question, Mo Qingyun had a contemplative look on his face as he considered what to do next. Given Thousand Rainbow Manor's current situation, if they wanted to enter, they would have to break the array formation first. At this moment, while Mo Qingyun was pondering, a group of people rushed over in a panic. There was another group of people chasing after them. "Save! Save us!" The group of people who were running for their lives saw Mo Qingyun and the other two and immediately cried for help. Hearing these people's cries for help, Mo Qingyun frowned slightly as he looked at the group of people behind them. The appearance of the people behind them was clearly different from ordinary humans. They looked like half-beastmen. If I'm not wrong, the people chasing after us should be from the Demon God Pavilion. After sweeping a glance at the group of people behind them, Mo Qingyun guessed their origins and gave King Devourer a look. After receiving Mo Qingyun's instructions, King Devourer no longer hesitated and immediately charged towards the group of people behind them. "How dare you obstruct our Demon God Pavilion's actions? You're courting death." Seeing King Devourer coming to stop them, the leader of the group of people from the Demon God Pavilion immediately shouted angrily. That person shouted angrily and slashed at King Devourer with his saber, sending out a powerful saber light. Facing this person's attack, King Devourer did not retreat at all. Instead, he casually raised his jade-like hand. King Devourer waved his arm and pointed his finger at the void. A black vortex appeared in front of him. The black vortex began to expand rapidly as soon as it appeared, emitting a terrifying devouring power. Under this devouring power, the group of people from the Demon God Pavilion could not resist at all. In the blink of an eye, they were all slaughtered. After killing the people from the demon god pavilion, King Devourer moved and appeared in front of Mo Qingyun. Junior Thousand Rainbow Phoenix, thanks Senior for saving us. Seeing that the people from the demon god pavilion were killed, a young girl walked out from the group of people who were asking Mo Qingyun for help. Hearing this girl's words, Mo Qingyun was surprised and asked, "You're from the Thousand Rainbow Manor?" "Yes." Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, Thousand Rainbow Phoenix quickly nodded in response. Then, her expression dimmed and she said, "Half a month ago, the Demon God Pavilion's Pavilion Master broke through to the Great Perfection Sage Realm. He was no longer afraid of the Thousand Rainbow Manor and attacked them one after another." Great Perfection Sage Realm. Hearing Thousand Rainbow Phoenix's words, Mo Qingyun's expression changed. He was a little surprised by this news. He had been in the Wasteland continent for so long and had seen many Sage Realm experts. However, this was the first time he had heard of a Great Perfection Sage Realm expert. At this moment, Mo Qingyun finally understood why the Thousand Rainbow Manor had sealed themselves and not come out. "Miss Phoenix, the people from the Demon God Pavilion will be here at any time. Let's return to the manor first." Seeing Thousand Rainbow Phoenix conversing with Mo Qingyun and the others, a one-eyed skinny young man suggested softly to Thousand Rainbow Phoenix. Hearing this young man's words, Thousand Rainbow Phoenix nodded and invited Mo Qingyun and the others. "Senior, thank you for saving me just now. Please come with me to the manor. I'll set up a banquet to thank you. Thank you for your hospitality." Mo Qingyun didn't refuse Thousand Rainbow Phoenix's invitation. He smiled faintly and nodded in acceptance. He was worried about how to enter Thousand Rainbow Phoenix's manor. Thousand Rainbow Phoenix's invitation couldn't be better. As soon as he saw Qian Hongfeng invite Mo Qingyun, the one-eyed young man's face immediately turned gloomy, and he said, "Young Miss Feng, these people's origins are unknown, and their strengths are formidable. If we bring them into the estate, then what if they have any ill intent? It would be equivalent to inviting wolves into the house." Thousand Rainbow Phoenix's face clearly showed hesitation when she heard the one-eyed young man's words. Clearly, the one-eyed young man's words gave her some misgivings. She was worried that Mo Qingyun and the others would have ulterior motives. Mo Qingyun didn't take Thousand Rainbow Phoenix's behavior to heart. He could understand Thousand Rainbow Phoenix's thoughts. Thousand Rainbow Manor was facing a crisis now. It was understandable that Thousand Rainbow Phoenix was cautious. "Senior, please forgive me. Because Thousand Rainbow Manor is facing a crisis, I was a little oversensitive just now." Thousand Rainbow Phoenix hesitated for a moment before making a difficult decision. She gestured to Mo Qingyun and the others and said, "Seniors, please follow me into the manor." "All right." Seeing that Thousand Rainbow Phoenix had made her decision, Mo Qingyun didn't mind and nodded towards Thousand Rainbow Manor. Seeing that Thousand Rainbow Phoenix invited Mo Qingyun again, the one-eyed young man's expression tightened. He quickly walked to Thousand Rainbow Phoenix's side and whispered, "Miss Phoenix, if these people—" "All right, there's no need to say anything. I've already made my decision." Before the one-eyed young man could finish speaking, Thousand Rainbow Phoenix interrupted him and said with a firm expression, "These seniors saved us earlier. I believe that they won't harm us. Otherwise, there's no need for them to act in this way, and they would be entirely capable of watching us be killed. But what if they're acting out a ruse? That wouldn't be good." When he saw that Thousand Rainbow Phoenix didn't change her mind, the one-eyed young man revealed an anxious expression, and he persuaded Thousand Rainbow Phoenix. Thousand Rainbow Phoenix immediately shook her head and denied the one-eyed young man's words, and she said, "There were a few Saint Realm experts amongst those who were killed earlier. They wouldn't give up their lives so easily, so they wouldn't agree to act out such a ruse." As soon as she finished speaking, Thousand Rainbow Phoenix paid no further attention to the one-eyed young man and walked swiftly towards Mo Qingyun and the others. After that, Thousand Rainbow Phoenix led Mo Qingyun and the others directly into Thousand Rainbow Manor. The one-eyed young man's expression became unsightly when he saw Thousand Rainbow Phoenix's actions, and he gritted his teeth and followed her into the manor. "Seniors, please follow me." After leading Mo Qingyun's group of 3 into the manor, Thousand Rainbow Phoenix's footsteps didn't stop, and she led Mo Qingyun and the others to the discussion hall. At this moment, the discussion hall was completely empty without a single person inside, giving others a feeling that it was slightly cold and cheerless. Thousand Rainbow Phoenix seemed to be used to this, and she directly beckoned to Mo Qingyun's group of 3 and said, "Seniors, please have a seat. I'll order people to set up a banquet right away and summon the Thousand Rainbow Manor's elders over." "Alright." When he saw Thousand Rainbow Phoenix's actions, Mo Qingyun nodded, and he sat down with an indifferent expression. After making arrangements for Mo Qingyun and the others, Thousand Rainbow Phoenix left the hall and summoned the Thousand Rainbow Manor's members over. Before long, the Thousand Rainbow Manor's elders had all arrived at the discussion hall. At the same time, numerous exquisite dishes and wine were sent into the hall. Except, what surprised Mo Qingyun was that when the Thousand Rainbow Manor's people arrived at the hall, they didn't see Thousand Rainbow Manor's family head. "Mr. Mo, I'm truly sorry. Family head is seriously injured and unconscious. I'm afraid he can't come out to receive you." Just as Mo Qingyun was feeling puzzled, an elder called Thousand Rainbow Light explained to him with an apologetic expression. Hearing Thousand Rainbow Light's words, Mo Qingyun revealed a look of understanding. He waved his hand at the other party and said, "No worries. It's our sudden arrival that disturbed everyone." Chapter 2165. Mr. Mo, from the looks of it, it seems like this is your first time in Thousand Rainbow City. After exchanging pleasantries with Mo Qingyun for a while, Qian Hongguang started to ask about Mo Qingyun's background in a roundabout manner. "I wonder why you've come to Thousand Rainbow City? If you trust us, you can tell us. Perhaps we can be of some help." Upon hearing Qian Hongguang's words, Mo Qingyun could guess what he was thinking. The other party was guarding against him. Mo Qingyun didn't mind Qian Hongguang's thoughts. It was normal for the other party to have such thoughts. Thousand Rainbow Manor's current situation wasn't particularly optimistic, so they had to be careful at all times. Elder Qian Hongguang's guess is correct. This is indeed our first time in Thousand Rainbow City. Mo Qingyun didn't deny Qian Hongguang's guess. He nodded and said, "We came to Thousand Rainbow City to take a look at the business of the Precious Treasure Pavilion. We didn't expect that the Precious Treasure Pavilion would be robbed when we arrived." Mo Qingyun couldn't help but sigh and put on a helpless expression. So the Precious Treasure Pavilion was opened by Mr. Mo. Clearly, Qian Hongguang had a certain level of understanding of the Precious Treasure Pavilion. Now that he knew Mo Qingyun's identity, the vigilance on Qian Hongguang's face clearly lessened. The Precious Treasure Pavilion had been robbed by the Demon God Pavilion. This meant that Mo Qingyun wasn't a member of the Demon God Pavilion, so he probably wouldn't do anything to harm Thousand Rainbow Manor. "Mr. Mo, now that the Precious Treasure Pavilion has been destroyed, what are your plans?" Qian Hongguang pondered for a moment before continuing to ask Mo Qingyun. It seemed like he wanted to recruit Mo Qingyun. King Devourer's strength must have moved Qian Hongguang, so he wanted to recruit Mo Qingyun and the others. Hearing Qian Hongguang's question, Mo Qingyun's expression turned serious. "Not long ago, I found a group of employees and asked them to contact the other employees. When everything is ready, I will probably rebuild the Precious Treasure Pavilion." "Rebuild the Precious Treasure Pavilion?" Qian Hongguang's expression changed. He was a little surprised by Mo Qingyun's plan. He immediately frowned and said, "Mr. Mo, this old man has something to say to you. I don't know if you're willing to listen?" "Elder Qian Hongguang, please speak your mind." Mo Qingyun had a curious expression on his face. He nodded at Qian Hongguang, wanting to see what the other party wanted to say. Under Mo Qingyun's gaze, Qian Hongguang's expression turned serious. Now that the demon god pavilion is running amok, wantonly burning, killing, and robbing, I'm worried that after you rebuild the precious treasure pavilion, the demon god pavilion will rob you. I advise you not to waste your money and manpower. Hearing Qian Hongguang's words, Mo Qingyun's expression showed that he understood what Qian Hongguang meant. Don't worry. I don't care about a small demon god pavilion. Knowing Qian Hongguang's suggestion, Mo Qingyun smiled nonchalantly and replied confidently. Even if the demon god pavilion's master's cultivation had reached the great attainment of the saint realm, as long as he was not a true divine, he would be fine. Seeing Mo Qingyun's attitude, the surrounding people's gazes changed drastically. If one looked closely, they would see that there was contempt and mockery in their eyes. In their opinion, Mo Qingyun was too arrogant. He was not afraid of biting his tongue. Since Mr. Mo says so, then this old man is overthinking. Qian Hongguang was old and shrewd. Although he was somewhat disdainful of Mo Qingyun, he did not show it directly. Immediately, the crowd's enthusiasm for Mo Qingyun decreased a lot because of this. Mo Qingyun did not care too much about this. He would let nature take its course. After a few hours, the banquet ended. Mr. Mo, I'll arrange a place for you to stay. Please come with me. After the banquet ended, Qian Hongfeng came to Mo Qingyun and led the way for Mo Qingyun. Thank you for your trouble, Miss Qian Hongfeng. Mo Qingyun did not refuse Qian Hongfeng's arrangement. He nodded and followed behind her. After a while, Mo Qingyun came to a quiet courtyard under Qian Hongfeng's lead. Mr. Mo, if you need anything, you can have a servant pass a message to me. After bringing Mo Qingyun to the courtyard, Qian Hongfeng warned Mo Qingyun and left. Seeing Qian Hongfeng leave, Mo Qingyun turned to Qian Linglong and asked, Linglong, what do you think of Thousand Rainbow Manor's situation? Have they completely surrendered to the dark demons? Mo Qingyun did not reveal his identity mainly because he wanted to see if Thousand Rainbow Manor had been enslaved by the dark demons. When she heard Mo Qingyun's question, Qian Linglong shook her head and said, I can't tell at the moment. I still need to continue observing. Hearing Qian Linglong's words, Mo Qingyun didn't say anything else and walked into a room to rest. In the conference hall. Elder Qian Hongguang, this kid's origins are unknown. It's better to be careful. When he saw Mo Qingyun leave, the one-eyed youth had a cold expression as he suggested to Qian Hongguang in a low voice. Qian Hongguang nodded and instructed the one-eyed youth, Han Yi, go investigate immediately and see if Mo Qingyun is telling the truth. Yes. The one-eyed youth immediately left after hearing Qian Hongguang's words. After instructing the one-eyed youth, Qian Hongguang turned to the others and asked, Elders, what do you think about Mo Qingyun and the other two? Tell us. Elder Qian Hongguang, I'm still worried about Mo Qingyun and the other two. It's best to send them away as soon as possible. Qian Hongfeng is too reckless. How can she bring someone of unknown origins to the manor so easily? It's said that the woman who saved Qian Hongfeng is a mermaid. It's hard to guarantee that she has nothing to do with the Fey God's pavilion. Everyone, calm down. No matter what, Mo Qingyun did save Qian Hongfeng and the others. In the hall, most of the elders of Qian Hongfeng did not have a good attitude towards Mo Qingyun. Seeing everyone's expressions, Qian Hongguang frowned. After a moment of silence he said, Mo Qingyun and the other two are not weak. If we can recruit them, it'll be a good thing. Don't get on their bad side for now. Let's observe them for a few more days. Hearing Qian Hongguang's words, the elders in the hall nodded. They felt that Qian Hongguang's words made sense. If they could recruit Mo Qingyun and the others, it would indeed be a good thing. It would greatly increase the strength of Qian Hongfeng Manor. Following that, Everyone chatted for a while more before they dispersed. After receiving Qian Hongguang's instructions, Han Yi left Qian Hongfeng Manor and secretly came to the Fey God's pavilion. Han Yi, young lord, you're back. Young lord, did things go well? When do we make our move? They probably never imagined that our Fey God's pavilion's young lord would hide in Qian Hongfeng Manor for 3 years. When the elders in the Fey God's pavilion conference hall saw Han Yi return, they all flattered him and smiled apologetically. Han Yi didn't respond to their flattery. He raised his head and looked at the top of the hall. Father, the situation in Qian Hongfeng Manor has changed. A few troublesome fellows have arrived. I'm afraid they'll affect our plans. I already know about the people you mentioned. When Han Yi mentioned Mo Qingyun and the other two, the pavilion master of the Fey God's pavilion, Han Liu, revealed a cold smile. He killed 3 stage experts with a casual wave of his hand. This person's cultivation should be at the late stage. If it was before, he might have caused me some trouble. But now, he's not enough. That's right. Hearing Han Liu's words, a cold smile appeared on Han Ye's face. He hurriedly fawned over Han Liu. With father's current strength, there are probably less than 100 people in the entire wasteland continent who can be compared to you. Han Liu enjoyed Han Ye's flattery very much. He laughed heartily and said, You don't have to bother with those 3. Just think of a way to open the protective array. Yes. Han Yi immediately responded when he heard Han Liu's instructions. He was no longer willing to pay attention to Mo Qingyun. After chatting with Han Yi for a while, Han Liu said with a solemn expression, In order to prevent any unforeseen events from happening, you should return to Thousand Rainbow Mansion first. As for the 3 people you mentioned, I'll send someone to deal with them later. Okay. Han Yi nodded in response. He left the Fey God's pavilion and returned to Thousand Rainbow Mansion directly. When Han Yi returned to Thousand Rainbow Mansion, he found Qian Hongguang and gave him a simple report. Han Yi did not fabricate the identities of Mo Qingyun and the other 2. He reported everything truthfully. Since Han Liu had given him instructions, there was no need for him to fabricate right and wrong and cause unnecessary trouble. To him, the most important thing now was to think of a way to open the protective array. As long as the protective array was opened, Thousand Rainbow Mansion would collapse on its own and be destroyed by the Fey God's pavilion experts. At this moment, a group of people arrived outside Thousand Rainbow Mansion while Qian Hongguang and Han Liu were conversing. Qian Hongguang, hand over the 3 people from Birdsong, Flowery, Treasure Pavilion, and we'll spare your Thousand Rainbow Mansion's people. Hand over those 3 people. Otherwise, don't blame us for not being courteous. People of Thousand Rainbow Mansion, listen up. If you still don't hand over those 3 people, you'll be punished for harboring. A series of enraged words came in from outside Thousand Rainbow Mansion. The Fey God's pavilion's people are here. Hearing the words outside the mansion, Qian Hongguang's expression shook, and his face darkened all at once. Although Thousand Rainbow Mansion had the protective array, he also did not dare to guarantee that the protective array could stop Han Liu. Knowing that the Fey God's pavilion's people came, Qian Hongguang did not dare to hesitate anymore and immediately gathered the elders of Thousand Rainbow Mansion. Before long, Qian Hongguang and the rest arrived at the conference hall to discuss Mo Qingyun's matter. Mo Qingyun killing the Fey God's pavilion's people was also in order to save Qian Hongfeng and the rest. This matter had to be handled carefully. Otherwise, a moment of carelessness might chill other people's hearts. Chapter 2166. Thousand Rainbow Manor, Conference Hall. Everyone, what do you think about Mo Qingyun's matter? Qian Hongguang sat at the front of the hall, his gaze sweeping across the crowd as he asked for their opinions. Under Qian Hongguang's questioning, the elders in the hall immediately began to whisper to each other. I feel that the Demon God Pavilion's true goal isn't to get us to hand over Mo Qingyun. That's right. They should be using this as an excuse to force us to open the protective array. I've long felt that there was something wrong with that kid. He's clearly in cahoots with the Demon God Pavilion. We definitely can't accept the Demon God Pavilion's request to open the protective array and let that kid leave Thousand Rainbow Manor. After a round of discussion, they reached a consensus that they would not hand over Mo Qingyun to the Demon God Pavilion. If Mo Qingyun heard the conversation between Qian Hongguang and the others, his expression would be very interesting. He would never have imagined that there would be such an operation. If we don't hand over Mo Qingyun, what if the Demon God Pavilion won't give up? Seeing everyone's thoughts, an elder with a goatee voiced his concerns. Hearing the elder's concerns, someone immediately stood up and comforted him. Elder Thousand Rainbow Cauldron, you don't have to worry about this. If the Demon God Pavilion could break the protective array, why would they wait until now to do nothing? That's true. Thousand Rainbow Cauldron nodded in agreement, the worry on his face easing a little. When the others heard this person's words, their expressions also relaxed a little. As long as the Demon God Pavilion couldn't break the array, there was nothing for them to fear. They could slowly think of a way to deal with it. Seeing that everyone had reached a consensus, Qian Hongguang no longer hesitated. His expression turned solemn as he said, "If that's the case, we won't hand over Mo Qingyun. We'll let him stay in Thousand Rainbow Manor." Seeing Qian Hongguang's decision, everyone nodded one after another. This matter was considered settled. After Qian Hongguang made his decision, his expression changed as he said, "Although we won't hand over Mo Qingyun, we can't let our guard down. In the coming days, we must send someone to keep an eye on them to prevent them from doing anything untoward." Everyone in the hall nodded in agreement. They felt that this was a good idea. "Leave the matter of keeping an eye on Mo Qingyun to me." The Thousand Rainbow Cauldron's elder volunteered himself and stood up, indicating that he would go and keep an eye on Mo Qingyun. Qian Hongguang nodded in agreement when he saw the Thousand Rainbow Cauldron step forward. "Since that's the case, I'll have to trouble Elder Thousand Rainbow Cauldron for the next few days. Pay close attention to Mo Qingyun's actions." "Yes." Thousand Rainbow Cauldron nodded. After discussing Mo Qingyun's matter, Qian Hongguang and the others chatted for a while before they dispersed. After the Thousand Rainbow Cauldron left the assembly hall, it went to the courtyard adjacent to Mo Qingyun's and began monitoring Mo Qingyun's trio. Oh! Mo Qingyun sensed it the moment Thousand Rainbow Cauldron's spiritual power swept over them. His brows furrowed slightly as he said, "It seems like Thousand Rainbow Manor is very worried about us. They actually sent someone to keep an eye on us." Qian Linglong's pretty face also tensed up when she heard Mo Qingyun's words. She thought to herself, "They sent someone to keep an eye on us. Could they have defected to the Dark Devil race?" "Not necessarily." Mo Qingyun shook his head, denying Qian Linglong's guess. He began to analyze the situation for her. If Thousand Rainbow Manor has defected to the Dark Devil race, they must have found out about my identity. If the Demon God Pavilion asked them to hand me over, they would have gladly agreed. They would have let the Demon God Pavilion and I fight to the death, so that they could reap the benefit. However, they didn't do that. Then why? Qian Linglong was puzzled when she heard Mo Qingyun's analysis. She didn't know what was going on. Under Qian Linglong's gaze, Mo Qingyun pondered for a moment before he roughly guessed the reason. He said, "If my guess is correct, Thousand Rainbow Manor's current actions should be due to their fear of the Fiend God Pavilion. Due to their fear of the Fiend God Pavilion, they do not trust anyone." Qian Linglong and Qian Linglong nodded. They felt that Mo Qingyun's analysis was right. This was the only reasonable explanation. "Alright, let's not bother about them. I'll continue to help you condense the Saint Energy Star Cluster." After chatting with Qian Linglong and Qian Linglong for a while, Mo Qingyun ignored Thousand Rainbow Cauldron and returned to the house with the two ladies. Immediately, Mo Qingyun focused and helped the two ladies condense the Saint Energy Star Cluster. Mo Qingyun didn't conceal himself when he was helping the two ladies condense the Star Energy Star Cluster. He allowed Thousand Rainbow Cauldron to spy on him. Mo Qingyun's idea was simple. Since Thousand Rainbow Cauldron wanted to spy on him, he would let it spy on him. More importantly, although Thousand Rainbow Cauldron was spying on him, it was also guarding his cultivation. Time passed slowly in this manner. In the blink of an eye, several hours had passed. The sky had already darkened. Seeing that Mo Qingyun and the other two hadn't left the courtyard for several hours, Thousand Rainbow Cauldron frowned slightly and thought, "It seems that we've misunderstood them. They're not spies from the Demon God Pavilion." Next, Thousand Rainbow Cauldron continued to spy on Mo Qingyun and the other two for several hours. They still didn't stop cultivating. "It seems that we've been worrying too much. They probably don't have any ill intentions towards Thousand Rainbow Manor." After observing for several more hours, Thousand Rainbow Cauldron didn't see any abnormalities with Mo Qingyun and the other two. It didn't want to spy on Mo Qingyun anymore. It couldn't be helped. Spying on others for such a long time was very taxing on the mind. When Thousand Rainbow Cauldron stopped spying with its soul, Thousand Rainbow Manor's protective formation suddenly shook violently. This was a sign that the protective formation had been removed. "Oh no, someone's turned off the protective formation." Thousand Rainbow Cauldron's expression changed drastically when it sensed the change in the protective formation. Shock surfaced on its face. Thousand Rainbow Cauldron didn't hesitate any longer and immediately went to stop the protective formation from closing. Thousand Rainbow Light and the others were alarmed when Thousand Rainbow Cauldron did so. They all went to stop the formation from closing. However, before Thousand Rainbow Cauldron and the others could restart the formation, the people from the Demon God Pavilion had entered. After that, the elders of the Thousand Rainbow Manor began to confront the people from the Demon God Pavilion. "Thousand Rainbow Cauldron Elder, what's going on? Weren't you spying on Mo Qingyun?" An elder who didn't know the truth questioned Thousand Rainbow Cauldron when it arrived before him. Thousand Rainbow Cauldron revealed an aggrieved expression when it heard the elder's question. It explained, "The protective formation wasn't turned off by Mo Qingyun. Under my surveillance, the three of them have been cultivating and haven't taken a single step out of their courtyard." "It wasn't Mo Qingyun?" Qian Hongguang frowned and his face darkened. He said, "It looks like the situation is worse than we thought. The Demon God's Pavilion has already infiltrated the Thousand Rainbow Manor without us noticing. Mo Qingyun and the other two might have come to divert our attention." Thousand Rainbow Cauldron and the others' expressions changed drastically when they heard Thousand Rainbow Light's analysis. Their hearts sank. Chapter 2167. In the small courtyard. The arrival of the people from the Demon God Pavilion immediately attracted Mo Qingyun's attention, and he immediately withdrew from his cultivation. When Mo Qingyun withdrew from his cultivation, Qian Linglong and the other two ladies also withdrew from their cultivation. Their pretty faces were filled with shock. "What's going on? It seems like an expert is attacking Thousand Rainbow Manor." Thousand Rainbow Manor's protective array seems to have been opened by someone. When the two ladies sensed the situation outside, they revealed a shocked expression, and strong doubts arose in their hearts. Logically speaking, since the people from Thousand Rainbow Manor were so careful, they shouldn't have made such a low-level mistake. Mo Qingyun frowned slightly when he heard the two women's words. He said in a deep voice, "If my guess is correct, the Demon God Pavilion has already planted an unknown spy in the Thousand Rainbow Manor. When they saw that we had attracted the attention of the Thousand Rainbow Manor, they secretly deactivated the manor protecting formation. The Demon God Pavilion is so ruthless. Since they opened the protective array and set us up, it can be said that they're killing two birds with one stone. With Thousand Rainbow Manor's current strength, it's impossible to resist the attack of the Demon God Pavilion. Should we help? Thinking of Thousand Rainbow Manor's situation, Qian Linglong and the other two ladies frowned slightly. They couldn't help but worry for Thousand Rainbow Manor. Naturally, we can't just stand by and watch. Since the people from the Demon God Pavilion are here, it's time to settle the score with them. Hearing Qian Linglong's question, Mo Qinyun stood up and directly walked out of the house. Master, you've just helped us condense the Saint Energy Star Cluster. You've exhausted a lot of your mental energy. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, King Devourer revealed a worried expression. He wanted to persuade Mo Qinyun not to go and rest first. Hearing King Devourer's worry, Mo Qinyun shook his head at her and smiled faintly. Don't worry. In my current state, even if I'm not a match for the Demon God Pavilion's Pavilion Master, I'll have no problem protecting myself. But, King Devourer frowned, looking like he wanted to say something. Without waiting for King Devourer to speak, Mo Qinyun glanced at Qian Linglong and said, Moreover, I don't have the two of you. With your strength, who can do anything to me? I almost forgot about that. Hearing Mo Qingyun's reason, Qian Linglong and the other woman smiled sweetly and didn't say anything more. With their current strength, it would not be easy for others to injure someone in front of them. After dispelling the worries of the two girls, Mo Qinyun did not stay any longer and directly walked out of the room. A short while later, Mo Qinyun arrived in the sky above Thousand Rainbow Manor and saw the two groups of people from Thousand Rainbow Manor and Demon God Pavilion. Seeing the arrival of Mo Qinyun and his crew, the faces of Qian Hongguang and the others immediately turned cold. Clearly, they had all misunderstood and thought that Mo Qinyun was a spy of the Demon God Pavilion. Mr. Mo, thank you for your help. It was because of you that we were able to open the protective array of Thousand Rainbow Manor. Seeing Mo Qinyun and the other two appear, the pavilion master of the Demon God Pavilion, Han Liu, immediately greeted Mo Qinyun. His action was undoubtedly to make Qian Hongguang and the others misunderstand Mo Qinyun even more. Mo Qinyun, you are indeed spies of the Demon God Pavilion. To think that we trusted you so much. Hearing Han Liu's greeting, some of the elders of Thousand Rainbow Manor immediately rebuked Mo Qinyun angrily. Seeing the actions of the people of Thousand Rainbow Manor, King Devourer's face darkened and he chided, Impudent! If Master wanted to deal with you, he wouldn't have to go through so much trouble. He could have directly broken the protective array and left you with nowhere to hide. Break the protective array? Could he be a sacred array master? Hearing King Devourer's words, the Thousand Rainbow Cauldron frowned and his mind began to whirl. Then, the way he looked at Mo Qinyun changed. From his previous observations, he could sense that Mo Qinyun wasn't a spy of the Demon God Pavilion. This was because Mo Qinyun hadn't come into contact with anyone since he came to Thousand Rainbow Manor. He hadn't made any moves to investigate Thousand Rainbow Manor. Moreover, if he wasn't familiar with Thousand Rainbow Manor, he wouldn't have been able to silently deactivate the protective array. Therefore, the spy of the Demon God Pavilion should be someone who was familiar with Thousand Rainbow Manor and had been hiding there for a long time. In summary, Mo Qinyun didn't fit any of the criteria. Therefore, he could be eliminated. With this thought in mind, the Thousand Rainbow Cauldron no longer hesitated and immediately explained to Qian Hongguang and the others. Elder Qian Hongguang, I don't think Mo Qinyun and the other two are spies of the Demon God Pavilion. Seeing everyone's excitement, the Thousand Rainbow Cauldron stopped them and analyzed for Qian Hongguang. After listening to the Thousand Rainbow Cauldron's analysis, Qian Hongguang and the others nodded, feeling that the Thousand Rainbow Cauldron's words made sense. After explaining his analysis, the Thousand Rainbow Cauldron's expression tensed up and continued, If there's someone else in the Demon God Pavilion, Now that we've offended Mo Qingyun and the other two, pushing them to the Demon God Pavilion's side would be a huge mistake. Thinking of the Thousand Rainbow Cauldron's conclusion, Qian Hongguang and the others trembled and felt a sense of lingering fear. The Demon God Pavilion was powerful to begin with. If Mo Qingyun and the other two were added, Thousand Rainbow Manor would really be doomed. Ignoring the thoughts of the Thousand Rainbow Cauldron and the others, Mo Qingyun turned to look at Han Liu and said with a faint smile, "It can't be considered helping. Since you're here, we should settle the score." Settle the score? Han Liu was stunned. He didn't understand Mo Qingyun's words. My precious treasure pavilion was robbed clean by you. Shouldn't you give me an answer? Under Han Liu's shocked gaze, Mo Qingyun unhurriedly recounted the incident of the precious treasure pavilion being robbed. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Han Liu immediately understood. He laughed at Mo Qingyun and said, "Mr. Mo, this is all a misunderstanding. I was just joking with you. Once we're done with Thousand Rainbow Manor, I'll compensate you 3 times the amount. Thousand Rainbow Manor can't run away. There's no need to rush." Mo Qingyun shook his head at Han Liu's explanation and rejected his suggestion. He said, "Also, didn't you just say that I'm your spy? Since I'm your spy, how can you not even know about my shop? How do you explain this?" Under Mo Qingyun's repeated questioning, Han Liu was immediately at a loss for words. He didn't know how to explain. They had indeed been negligent in this matter. Their actions were full of loopholes. Seeing Han Liu's reaction, Thousand Rainbow Light and the others came to a realization. They were sure that they had misunderstood Mo Qingyun. Soon after, fear appeared on their faces as they nodded at the Thousand Rainbow Cauldron. Fortunately, the Thousand Rainbow Cauldron was careful. Otherwise, they would have fallen into the Demon God Pavilion's trap. Under everyone's gazes, Mo Qingyun looked at Han Liu and said with a smile, "Actually, the solution to this matter is very simple. Since you've robbed my precious treasure pavilion, I'll rob your Demon God Pavilion." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Han Liu almost vomited blood in anger. His face immediately turned red. Chapter 2168. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, not only was Han Liu speechless, but even Qian Hongguang and the others were speechless. Mo Qingyun's words were too arrogant. If he went out like this, he would be beaten up. Under everyone's shocked gazes, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly. He looked at the depressed Han Liu and said, "Pavilion Master Han, you don't have to be too touched. Although your Demon God Pavilion's wealth is far from my precious treasure pavilion's, I'm a magnanimous person. I don't want to argue with you." Everyone was about to faint. "Brother, can you be more shameless? It's clearly your precious treasure pavilion. It's not even a 10,000th of the Demon God Pavilion, okay? In the entire Thousand Rainbow City, I'm afraid only Mr. Mo would dare to speak to Han Liu like this. I'm sure now that Mr. Mo is definitely not from the Demon God Pavilion. Bah, you're the one who made the most noise just now. We almost ruined everything because of you." Yeah. If Elder Ding hadn't stopped us, we would have gotten into big trouble. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Qian Hongguang and the others were filled with regret. They felt a lingering fear in their hearts. Under everyone's gazes, Han Liu's expression immediately turned ugly when he heard Mo Qingyun's words. He said, "Mr. Mo, I've already given you 3 chances. Don't you dare open a dye house and embarrass yourself in the end." It was obvious that Han Liu was truly angered by Mo Qingyun's repeated provocations. If he wasn't worried that Mo Qingyun and Thousand Rainbow Manor would join forces and put the Demon God Pavilion in a passive position, he would have already made his move. "Pavilion Master Han, that's not right." Hearing Han Liu's words, Mo Qingyun immediately shook his head and sneered. "I think I should be the one who gave you 3 chances and you opened a dye house." Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Han Liu's expression turned even uglier. He said darkly, Mr. Mo, it seems like you're refusing a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Don't blame me for this. Upon hearing Han Leo's words, the experts of the Demon God Pavilion immediately sharpened their blades. Just as the Demon God Pavilion's group was about to make a move, Han Yi walked out from behind the Thousand Rainbow Manners group. He sneered and said, Father, what's the point of saying so much to these people? Just make a move. In any case, they aren't a match for us. Han Yi. It's you. You're actually Han Leo's son, the young lord of the Demon God Pavilion. You really hit it well. Seeing Han Yi walk out, the expressions of Qian Hongguang and the others changed greatly. They could not believe this was real. Han Yi entered Thousand Rainbow Manor 3 years ago and had always been doing things in a low-profile manner. He had never taken any action that stepped out of line. Slowly, because of his outstanding performance, Qian Hongguang and the others regarded him as their own. Qian Hongguang and the others could not believe that Han Yi was not only a member of the Demon God Pavilion, but also Han Leo's son. That's right. Hearing Han Ye's words, Han Leo nodded and praised Han Yi. He said, It's been hard on you these past few years. From today onwards, you don't have to look at other people's faces. Thank you, Father. Seeing that Han Leo had expressed his stance, Han Ye's face lit up and he bowed to Han Leo. After instructing Han Yi, Han Leo did not hesitate and immediately said to the people behind him, All right, don't be idle. Go play with the Thousand Rainbow Manners people. Yes. Hearing Han Leo's order, the experts of the Demon God Pavilion immediately charged towards the Thousand Rainbow Manners group. Seeing that the Demon God Pavilion's people were attacking, Qian Hongguang and the others did not hesitate and immediately went to meet the Demon God Pavilion's people. Shortly after, a huge battle broke out. In the blink of an eye, the two sides were in full swing. After instructing his subordinates to take action, Han Leo looked at Mo Qingyun and said, Mr. Mo, I know that the beauties beside you are not weak. That's why you have the confidence to be so arrogant. Therefore, I've decided to deal with you personally. Later, I'll let the 3 of you die with honor. Hearing Han Leo's words, Mo Qingyun did not take it to heart. He turned to Qian Linglong and Qian Hongguang and said, Recently, your strength has increased rapidly. Although you have been fighting with others to get used to your increased strength, your opponents are too weak. Han Leo is a good opponent. You can use him to familiarize yourself with your strength. Okay. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Qian Linglong and Qian Hongguang immediately nodded and a strong fighting spirit rose within them. Then, 2 auras that surpassed the advanced sage stage were released from Qian Linglong and Qian Hongguang. 2 advanced sage stage experts. Sensing Qian Linglong and Qian Hongguang's aura, Han Leo's face twitched and his expression turned serious. It was easy for him to deal with 1 advanced sage stage expert. However, it was a little troublesome to deal with 2 of them. More importantly, Qian Linglong and Qian Hongguang gave him the feeling that they were not ordinary advanced sage stage experts. Although they were all advanced sage stage experts, there was a huge gap in their strength. They could not be lumped together. The 2 ladies beside Mr. Mo are both advanced sage stage expert. That's great. With their help, the Demon God Pavilion will definitely return empty-handed this time. Fortunately, we did not offend Mr. Mo, otherwise, we would really be finished this time. Seeing Qian Linglong and Qian Hongguang's strength, Qian Hongguang and the others were overjoyed and felt lucky. Among them, the strongest was only at the intermediate sage stage. If they were to face a great perfection sage stage expert and 2 advanced sage stage experts working together to attack them, just imagining such a situation was enough to make them feel terrified. Under the gaze of Qian Hongguang and the others, Qian Linglong and Qian Hongguang moved and charged toward Han Leo. When Qian Linglong and Qian Hongguang attacked, several Saint Power star clusters appeared on their bodies and emitted a wave of Saint Power. They did not use all of their strength immediately. It seemed that they wanted to adapt to their strength bit by bit. Humph! Seeing Qian Linglong and Qian Hongguang's attack, Han Liu snorted coldly and charged toward them. Soon, the three of them were fighting, causing an earth-shattering commotion. While everyone was fighting, Han Yi had nothing to do. He could not help but look at Emo Qingyun. Boy, the two beauties beside you have already fought with my father. Now, no one can protect you. Han Ye's cultivation was at the early sage stage. In his opinion, without Qian Linglong and Qian Hongguang's protection, Emo Qingyun would be at his mercy. As soon as Han Yi finished speaking, he flew toward Emo Qingyun and sneered. When I capture you, I will use you to threaten the two beauties. The scene will be very interesting. Oh no, Han Yi is going to deal with Mr. Emo. Seeing Han Ye's action, Qian Hongguang's expression changed drastically. A worried look appeared on his face. Immediately, he moved and prepared to protect Emo Qingyun. Chapter 2169. This is bad. If Mr. Emo is captured by Han Yi, his two friends will definitely be worried. Seeing that his path was blocked, Thousand Rainbow Cauldron's expression turned serious. He felt a strong sense of worry and thought to himself, without his two friends holding Han Liu back, we won't be able to resist Han Liu at all. We'll only end up being slaughtered. Thousand Rainbow Cauldron wasn't the only one worried when he saw Han Yi going to deal with Emo Qingyun. Qian Hongguang and the others were also worried. Quick! Quick, stop Han Yi. We can't let him hurt Mr. Emo, we were too careless. We didn't expect Han Yi to be so insidious. He actually attacked Mr. Emo with Mr. Mo's cultivation at the second level of the Nine Heavens Mystic Immortal Realm. If Han Yi gets close to him, he can only wait to be killed. I hope Mr. Emo has some kind of trump card that can hold on for a while until we go to help him. Seeing Emo Qingyun's situation, Qian Hongguang and the others were anxious. They frantically approached Emo Qingyun. At this moment, they couldn't care less about their own lives. They only wanted to protect Emo Qingyun's safety. They had no choice. The survival of the entire Thousand Rainbow Manor was tied to Emo Qingyun. Therefore, he couldn't let anything happen to him. Under the frenzied attack of Qian Hongguang and the others, the people of the Demon God Pavilion immediately broke through the blockade. Although Qian Hongguang and the others broke through the blockade, it was a little too late to stop Han Yi. Emo Qingyun, no one can save you today. Looking at Qian Hongguang and the others rushing towards him, Han Yi sneered. He raised his hand and grabbed at Emo Qingyun. A surge of terrifying saint power blasted out from Han Ye's palm and turned into a huge palm shadow. Emo Qingyun didn't react to Han Ye's attack at all. He stood calmly in place. Seeing Emo Qingyun's performance, Thousand Rainbow Cauldron and the others immediately turned pale. They all revealed expressions of despair. It's over. The difference in strength is too great. Mr. Emo can't even react. Could it be that our Thousand Rainbow Manor is going to become history today? It's all because of that brat Han Yi. If it wasn't for him, things wouldn't have turned out like this. Qian Hongguang and the others blamed themselves and felt a sense of regret. Compared to the mood of Qian Hongguang and the others, Han Ye's heart was filled with joy. He proudly said, Emo Qingyun, you don't have a woman to protect you. You're just a useless piece of trash. When I capture you, I'll use you to threaten the two beauties. The scene should be very exciting. Thank you for reminding me. Hearing Han Ye's words, Emo Qingyun's expression changed. A faint smile appeared on his face as he said, If I capture you and then use you to threaten Han Liu, that should be a good thing. Before Han Yi could react, Emo Qingyun blasted a palm at him. Then, an aura that was not weaker than Han Liu's erupted from Emo Qingyun's body. So strong. Sensing Emo Qingyun's aura, Han Ye's body trembled and his face twitched. He couldn't be that strong. How could Emo Qingyun be so strong? He wasn't much weaker than Han Liu. Boom! Just as Han Yi was about to explode, a huge black palm image smashed into him. After being hit by Mo Qingyun's palm, Han Yi was immediately sent flying. He kept spitting out blood from his mouth. Seeing this scene, the surrounding people were all dumbfounded. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. Am I seeing this right? Han Yi was sent flying? Is this the work of young Master Mo? Could he be hiding his cultivation? The aura that Mr. Mo released just now was comparable to that of a late-stage Sage Realm expert. This must be an illusion. How can a second-stage 9 Heavens Xian immortal have the strength of a late-stage Sage Realm expert? Why do you care so much? As long as Mr. Mo is fine, it's fine. Yes, as long as he's fine, as long as he's fine. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, the Thousand Rainbow Cauldron and the others were shocked. At the same time, they were also happy. Mo Qingyun wasn't captured by Han Yi. Qian Linglong and the other two girls didn't have to worry and could continue to fight Han Liu. Under everyone's shocked gaze, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and quickly caught up with Han Yi. Mo Qingyun caught up to Han Yi. He raised his hand and grabbed at Han Yi, directly grabbing him by the neck. Then, Han Yi was captured in Mo Qingyun's hands like a little chick. Mo Qingyun's actions had a huge impact. It immediately attracted Han Liu's attention. Seeing that Han Yi had been captured, Han Liu's expression immediately changed. His face darkened as he said angrily, Mo Qingyun, you despicable and sinister villain, you actually hid your cultivation and deliberately set a trap for my son. In Han Liu's opinion, if Mo Qingyun hadn't hidden his cultivation, he definitely wouldn't be a match for Han Yi. Hearing Han Liu's words, Mo Qingyun shook his head and replied, Pavilion Master Han, in terms of despicability, shamelessness, and treachery, I'm far inferior to you and your father. If you hadn't schemed against me again and again, I wouldn't have retaliated like this. Han Liu was speechless. Mo Qingyun's words were true. They were indeed the ones who schemed against Mo Qingyun first. Seeing Han Liu's silence, Mo Qingyun revealed a helpless expression and shrugged. Moreover, I didn't hide my cultivation. My cultivation is indeed at the second level of the 9 Heavens Xian immortal realm. Impossible! Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Han Yi, who was captured by Mo Qingyun, immediately retorted angrily, If you're at the second level of the 9 Heavens Xian immortal realm, how can you have the strength of a late-stage Saint Stage expert? What's impossible about that? You can't do it, but it doesn't mean that others can't. Han Liu, don't say that I didn't give you a chance. If you submit to me now, I can spare the lives of you and your father. Mo Qingyun didn't care about Han Yi's question at all. You want me to submit to you? Hearing Mo Qingyun's request, Han Liu's expression turned ferocious. He was so angry that his entire body trembled. In his opinion, Mo Qingyun's words were clearly a form of humiliation to him. However, Han Yi was now captured by Mo Qingyun, so he couldn't help but have misgivings. Seeing that Han Liu didn't speak for a long time, Mo Qingyun nodded to Qian Linglong and Qian Linglong and said, Linglong, the two of you don't have to hide your strength. Spar with Pavilion Master Han with all your strength. Let him know that he has no other choice. Okay. Hearing Mo Qingyun's instructions, Qian Linglong and Qian Linglong responded and no longer concealed their strength. Following that, the number of star clusters on the two women's bodies instantly increased to 25. At the same time, the aura released by Qian Linglong and Qian Linglong increased by several times. Seeing this scene, Han Liu's face immediately sank and his body began to tremble violently. Chapter 2170. It turns out that compared to Han Liu, Mr. Mo is the scariest. It seems that Mr. Mo wasn't bluffing when he said that he would rob the Demon God Pavilion. Han Liu is no match for Mr. Mo and the other two when they join forces. Sensing the change in Qian Linglong and the other two girls, the Rainbow Cauldron and the others were shocked. They had already predicted the result. Under the joint forces of Mo Qingyun and the other two, Han Liu could only bow down and be slaughtered. Qian Linglong and the other two girls showed their full strength. They did not hesitate and immediately attacked Han Liu. Under the joint forces of Qian Linglong and the other two girls, the pressure on Han Liu immediately increased. He was in a situation where he was beaten up. Seeing that Han Liu was in a situation where he was beaten up, the experts of the Demon God Pavilion immediately lost their morale. They could see that the Demon God Pavilion was doomed and would be destroyed in the hands of Mo Qingyun. It seems that Linglong and the other two girls are qualified to fight with a great attainment of the Saint Realm, but it will be difficult for them to win. Looking at the scene of Qian Linglong and the other two girls fighting, Mo Qingyun knew the strength of Qian Linglong and the other two girls. Of course, the great attainment of the Saint Realm that Mo Qingyun was referring to was people like Han Liu. If he was an extremely powerful great attainment of the Saint Realm, Qian Linglong and the other two girls' strength would be far from him. These two girls are too strong. If we continue fighting, I might be killed by them. After seeing the strength of Qian Linglong and the other two girls, Han Liu's expression turned serious. After thinking about it, Han Liu no longer hesitated and made a ruthless decision. Ye don't worry. They won't be able to run away. I will avenge you, Han Liu said ruthlessly. He did not want to stay any longer and was ready to escape. Hearing Han Liu's words, Han Ye's body trembled and a pleading expression appeared on his face. Father, don't leave me behind. I don't want to die. Don't worry. He won't be able to escape. Seeing that Han Liu was about to run for his life, Mo Qingyun smiled at Han Yi. A red light flashed in his left eye. Then, a flame mark with a terrifying aura blasted out from his left eye. As soon as the flame mark appeared, it disappeared in a flash and instantly blasted into Han Liu's sea of consciousness. After being hit by Mo Qingyun's soul attack, Han Liu immediately screamed and spat out a mouthful of blood. He said in horror, This is the fire of civilization. You actually activated the fire of civilization. This discovery frightened Han Liu, making him even more fearful of Mo Qingyun. Bang bang, while Han Liu was distracted, Qian Linglong and the other ladies' attacks landed on him. After being attacked by Qian Linglong and Qian Linglong, Han Liu was immediately sent flying. He heavily fell to the ground and crashed into a row of buildings. Father! Pavilion Master! Seeing that Han Liu was sent flying, Han Yi and the others panicked. Their expressions became tense. Han Liu was their hope of survival. Now that even Han Liu was no match for the other party, they could only submit or die. After Qian Linglong and Qian Linglong and Qian Linglong sent Han Liu flying, they were not in a hurry to attack again. They just looked down at Han Liu. Pavilion Master Han, have you made up your mind? Looking at Han Liu in the ruins, Mo Qingyun's expression was indifferent. He asked Han Liu again. When Mo Qingyun spoke, a murderous aura was released from his body. It seemed that if Han Liu dared to refuse, he would not hesitate to kill him. Under Mo Qingyun's murderous aura, Han Liu's body immediately trembled and he felt his heart palpitate. He was sure that Mo Qingyun really wanted to kill him. He was not just trying to scare him. I can't believe that I, Han Liu, would end up like this. Han Liu sighed and put on a helpless expression. He looked at Mo Qingyun with a complicated expression and said, You can draw the fire of civilization into your body. Perhaps you will become the master of civilization in the future. It is not shameful to acknowledge someone like you as my master. I am willing to submit to you. After Han Liu finished speaking, he knelt down on one knee before Mo Qingyun to express his attitude. Father, seeing Han Liu's actions, Han Yi was immediately stunned. He could not believe that this was real. For an existence as powerful as his father to actually choose to submit to Mo Qingyun, this kind of matter had a huge impact on him. The pavilion master submitted to this brat. Why would the pavilion master do that? Mr. Mo is really powerful. In the blink of an eye, he has gained another powerful subordinate. Things are really unpredictable. If I didn't see it with my own eyes, who would have thought that the result would be like this? Just now, Han Leo said that Mo Qingyun triggered the fire of civilization. Could he be the reincarnation of the master of civilization? It's hard to say. But no matter what, Mr. Mo is not someone we can offend. Seeing Han Leo's actions, the Thousand Rainbow Cauldron and the others whispered among themselves. Their evaluation of Mo Qingyun increased. While the Thousand Rainbow Cauldron and the others were whispering, Mo Qingyun had subdued Han Leo and planted a soul brand in his sea of consciousness. Mo Qingyun had subdued Han Leo, so he handed Han Yi over. He shook his head and said, "Originally, I was planning to use you to threaten Han Leo. Who would have thought that he would actually decide to abandon you? How disappointing." After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he shook his head and no longer paid any attention to Han Yi. Han Leo, take him back to the Demon God Pavilion. I will go there later. After releasing Han Yi, Mo Qingyun turned his head to look at Han Leo and warned him, "Don't worry." Hearing Mo Qingyun's instructions, Han Leo did not dare to hesitate. He immediately led his men back to the Demon God Pavilion. Seeing Han Leo and the others leave, the Thousand Rainbow Cauldron and the others relaxed. Their hearts were completely at ease. After dealing with the Demon God Pavilion's attack, Mo Qingyun walked towards the Thousand Rainbow Cauldron and the others. He said, "Elder Qian Hongguang, immediately gather all the elders of the Thousand Rainbow Manor and gather them in the Thousand Rainbow Manor's meeting hall. I have something to tell you." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Qian Hongguang frowned. His heart immediately sank. As far as he was concerned, Mo Qingyun telling him this might be because he wanted to subdue Thousand Rainbow Manor. Yes. Although he was unwilling, considering Mo Qingyun's strength, Qian Hongguang still nodded and agreed. There was no other way. Even the powerful Demon God Pavilion was afraid. What else could Thousand Rainbow Manor resist? Before long, all the elders of Thousand Rainbow Manor had gathered in the conference hall. When the crowd arrived at the conference hall, they began to whisper and discuss Mo Qingyun in low voices. Mo Qingyun did not pay attention to everyone's behavior. He raised his hand and pointed at Qian Linglong beside him and said, "What I want to say is very simple. Miss Linglong beside me is the holy maiden of 1,000 illusions." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the hall immediately went into an uproar. Everyone's eyes widened. Chapter 2171. What? Miss Linglong is the saintess? This can't be true, right? This is the bloodline power of 1,000 illusions. It's much stronger than ours. It's really the bloodline of 1,000 illusions. It seems like Mr. Mo wasn't joking. No wonder Mr. Mo came to help us. Miss Linglong is the saintess. This explains it. We were too disrespectful to have doubted the saintess. Fortunately, the saintess didn't hold it against us. After hearing Mo Qingyun's words and sensing Qian Linglong's bloodline power, Qian Hongguang and the others came to a realization. At this moment, the doubts in their hearts were finally resolved. Seeing that her identity was exposed, Qian Linglong didn't say anything else. She immediately said to Qian Hongguang and the others, "Before I came to Thousand Rainbow City, I've already saved Thousand Moon City and Thousand Language City. Later, we'll set up a teleportation formation in Thousand Rainbow Manor to connect the three cities so that you can look after each other." Hearing Qian Linglong's words, the expressions of Qian Hongguang and the others changed again. They were also excited. If Thousand Rainbow Manor set up a teleportation formation, the three cities would be closely connected and their defense would be doubled. Currently, Thousand Rainbow Manor doesn't have a master. This isn't a long-term plan. I'll help you choose a master first. Looking at the shocked faces of Qian Hongguang and the others, Qian Linglong's expression became serious. She said, "Based on my previous observation, I found that Elder Qian Hongguang is very calm and sees things clearly. I've decided to let him be the new master. Do you have any objections?" Hearing Qian Linglong's words, Qian Hongguang and the others' expressions changed. They all looked at each other. Previously, Qian Hongguang was basically in charge of some matters in Thousand Rainbow Manor. He was already the new master. However, Qian Linglong now said that she would let Qian Hongguang become the master. This surprised them. However, considering Qian Hongguang's previous performance, they didn't have any objections. They didn't think that there was anything wrong with it. When the Demon God Pavilion attacked, if Qian Hongguang hadn't stopped everyone, Thousand Rainbow Manor might have already ceased to exist. "We have no objections." Although they were surprised by Qian Linglong's decision, Qian Hongguang and the others had no objections and accepted her arrangement. After assigning the Thousand Rainbow Cauldron as the clan master, Qian Linglong did not stop talking. She continued to instruct Qian Hong and the others on other matters. Meanwhile, Mo Qingyun nodded towards the Thousand Rainbow Cauldron and said, "Thousand Rainbow Cauldron's patriarch, help me find a place. I want to set up a teleportation formation there." "You set up a formation?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the Thousand Rainbow Cauldron's expression froze, feeling somewhat incredulous. He could not believe that Mo Qingyun was really an array master. The King Devourer was not lying. "Mr. Mo, please come with me." After a brief moment of shock, the Thousand Rainbow Cauldron immediately made an inviting gesture and led the way for Mo Qingyun. It wasn't long before Mo Qingyun arrived before an ancient palace under the guidance of the Thousand Rainbow Cauldron. This palace gave off the feeling that it had existed for tens of millions of years. It was filled with an ancient aura. What surprised Mo Qingyun even more was that there was actually a damaged teleportation formation in this palace. "Mr. Mo, before this teleportation formation was destroyed, you could teleport to any of the major branches of the 1000 illusions." Seeing that Mo Qingyun was looking at the teleportation formation, the Thousand Rainbow Cauldron explained simply and continued, "In the past, this palace was built for teleportation. If you want to set up a teleportation formation, this should be the most suitable place." Hearing the Thousand Rainbow Cauldron's words, Mo Qingyun nodded. His gaze did not leave the damaged teleportation formation. As Mo Qingyun continued to size up the teleportation formation, his expression became more and more excited. He said in surprise, "This teleportation formation's grade is extremely high. Although a part of it is damaged, it might not be impossible to restore it to its original state." "Really?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the Thousand Rainbow Cauldron's expression shook, and a look of pleasant surprise appeared on its face. This news was too sudden and unexpected for it. Suppressing the surprise in its heart, the Thousand Rainbow Cauldron put on a respectful expression and said, "Mr. Mo, tell me what you need to repair the teleportation formation as soon as possible. I'll prepare it for you immediately." "Okay." Mo Qingyun nodded. He took out a beast skin scroll and wrote down what he needed. Not long after, Mo Qingyun finished writing and handed the beast skin scroll to the Thousand Rainbow Cauldron. After receiving the beast skin scroll from Mo Qingyun, the Thousand Rainbow Cauldron did not delay at all and immediately went to prepare the materials for setting up the formation. When the Thousand Rainbow Cauldron went to prepare the materials, Mo Qingyun summoned Shui Long and the other two to help him repair the formation. After that, Mo Qingyun and the other three discussed and researched how to repair the formation by the side of the teleportation formation. Several hours later, the Thousand Rainbow Cauldron came to Mo Qingyun's side and prepared all the materials that Mo Qingyun needed to set up the formation without missing a single bit. Sacred Formation Master Shui Long, Sacred Formation Master Yinpeng, and Sacred Formation Master Yu. When the Thousand Rainbow Cauldron saw Shui Long and the other two, it was immediately shocked. It could not believe what it was seeing. Shui Long and the other two were all well-known sacred formation masters. It had long heard of them, but it did not expect to see them here. More importantly, from the actions of Shui Long and the other two, it seemed that they were very respectful of Mo Qingyun. Mr. Mo's true identity is probably even more honorable than I imagined. Could he really be the reincarnation of the Master of Civilization? The Thousand Rainbow Cauldron's mind spun, and the way it looked at Mo Qingyun underwent a great change. Then, the Thousand Rainbow Cauldron respectfully handed the materials to Mo Qingyun. After giving the materials to Mo Qingyun, the Thousand Rainbow Cauldron did not stay any longer and left the ancient hall. Mo Qingyun did not mind the Thousand Rainbow Cauldron's departure and began to repair the ancient teleportation formation. While Mo Qingyun repaired the ancient teleportation formation, Qian Linglong led the people of Thousand Rainbow Manor to clean up the hidden dangers of Thousand Rainbow City. In the blink of an eye, nearly 10 days had passed. With the efforts of Mo Qingyun and the other three, the ancient teleportation formation of Thousand Rainbow Manor was finally repaired. Master, this teleportation formation is of a very high grade. Even without a teleportation formation, you can teleport to anywhere. With this teleportation formation, going to other places will be easy. You won't have to worry about getting lost during the teleportation. Once you reach the place you're told to set up a teleportation formation, you'll be able to teleport back and forth as you please. After the teleportation formation was repaired, Shui Long and the other two sighed emotionally as they described the powerful effects of the teleportation formation. Mo Qingyun smiled faintly when he heard Shui Long and the other two's words. With the help of this teleportation formation, the speed of subduing the Thousand Illusion Clan will increase infinitely. Since the teleportation formation is repaired, it's time to leave Thousand Rainbow Manor. Mo Qingyun muttered to himself. He did not stay any longer and turned to leave the ancient hall. Chapter 2172. After a while, Mo Qingyun returned to his residence and saw Qian Linglong and Qian Linglong. After resolving the hidden danger of Thousand Rainbow City, the two women had been cultivating here while waiting for Mo Qingyun to repair the array. Qingyun, you're back. Is the array repaired? Seeing that Mo Qingyun had returned, Qian Linglong was overjoyed and went to welcome Mo Qingyun. Yes. Hearing Qian Linglong's question, Mo Qingyun nodded. He walked to the pavilion and sat down. He said, I'm here to discuss with you which city to go to next. Do you have any good suggestions? Qian Linglong did not answer Mo Qingyun's question. Instead, she asked a question. Thousand Rainbow Manor's ancient teleportation array can teleport you to anywhere. It doesn't matter which city you go to. Thinking about the power of Thousand Rainbow Manor's teleportation array, Mo Qingyun replied casually. He continued, with the help of this teleportation array, the time you need to subdue the 1,000 illusions will be greatly reduced. That's great. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Qian Linglong was overjoyed. She made a decision and said, Thousand Star City is closer. Let's go to Thousand Star City first. Then let's go to Thousand Star City first. Hearing Qian Linglong's decision, Mo Qingyun nodded and confirmed their next destination. Next, Mo Qingyun chatted with the two women for a while more before leaving the courtyard. After Mo Qingyun left his residence, he went to find Zhang Ling and the others to ask about the progress of the Precious Treasure Pavilion's reopening. With the efforts of Zhang Ling and the others, the Precious Treasure Pavilion had already reopened. Mo Qingyun was very satisfied with this. After dealing with the matters of the Precious Treasure Pavilion, Mo Qingyun went to the Demon God Pavilion. He was prepared to give Han Liu some instructions before leaving. After a while, Mo Qingyun arrived at the Demon God Pavilion and found Han Liu under the guidance of a disciple. Greetings, Master. Seeing Mo Qingyun arrive, Han Liu showed a respectful expression and quickly bowed to Mo Qingyun. In response to Han Liu and the rest's greetings, Mo Qingyun indifferently waved his hand and said, "No need for such formalities. I have come to the Demon God Pavilion today because I have some instructions for you." "Master, please speak." Han Liu bent down and stood respectfully beside Mo Qingyun, waiting for Mo Qingyun's orders. Seeing Han Liu's performance, Mo Qingyun nodded in satisfaction and said, "In order for the 1,000 illusions to be able to teleport between the various cities, I need to set up a large number of teleportation arrays. My purpose here is to take away the materials from the Fey Celestial Pavilion to set up the teleportation arrays in the future. This subordinate will go and get the materials for setting up the array." Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's instructions, Han Liu immediately understood and went to retrieve the array formation materials from the Demon God's Pavilion. An hour later, Han Liu returned to Mo Qingyun's side and took out a storage bracelet. He handed it to Mo Qingyun and said, "Master, the array formation materials from the Fey Celestial Pavilion are all in this storage bracelet." "Okay." After receiving the storage bracelet from Han Liu, Mo Qingyun nodded in satisfaction and said, "Go and inform the disciples. After that, you will leave Thousand Rainbow City with me to conquer the other cities." Although Han Liu was not a true divine, he was still at the Sage Realm great perfection. His battle strength was not to be underestimated. He would be a great help if Mo Qingyun took him along. It would make Mo Qingyun less worried. Yes. Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's instructions, Han Liu immediately instructed the disciples to assign some task. Not long after, Han Liu finished dealing with everything, and he left with Mo Qingyun. After leaving the Fey Celestial Pavilion, Mo Qingyun returned to the Thousand Rainbow Manor and set off with Qian Linglong and Qian Linglong. Several hours later, on a mountain peak in the Thousand Star City, 4 figures flashed and appeared here. These 4 figures were Mo Qingyun and the other 3 who had rushed over. "Master, we are now standing on the Luan Star Peak. In front of us is the Thousand Star City." Standing on the mountain peak, Han Liu reported the location and pointed to the east. Following the direction Han Liu was pointing, Mo Qingyun could vaguely see a small city. Without the connection of the teleportation array, it is indeed difficult to pinpoint the location of the teleportation array. Seeing where he was now, Mo Qingyun could not help but sigh. He was not satisfied with the location of the teleportation array. Mo Qingyun sighed inwardly. He no longer hesitated and immediately flew toward the Thousand Star City. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Qian Linglong and the other 2 hurriedly followed and flew toward the Thousand Star City. Not long after, Mo Qingyun and the others arrived at the Thousand Star City and rushed directly to the Thousand Star Mansion. When Mo Qingyun arrived at the Thousand Star Mansion, he could not help but be a little dumbfounded. He was shocked by the appearance of the Thousand Star Mansion. The Thousand Star Mansion was too small. Compared to the Thousand Rainbow Manor, it was a stark contrast. More importantly, the Thousand Star Mansion did not even have a protective array. It was full of signs of destruction. "Let's go in." After taking a look at the Thousand Star Mansion, Mo Qingyun walked into the mansion. He did not want to hide anything anymore. With the strength of the Thousand Star Mansion, he had nothing to worry about. He could just directly subdue it. Seeing that there were people coming to stop them, Mo Qingyun and the others released some of their auras and forced the guards to retreat. Seeing the strength of Mo Qingyun and the others, the guards did not dare to stop them and immediately went to report the news. Not long after, the powerhouses of the Thousand Star Mansion all arrived in front of Mo Qingyun. To Mo Qingyun and Qian Linglong's disappointment, there was not a single Saint Stage powerhouse in the entire Thousand Star Mansion. It had to be said that the Thousand Star Mansion had really declined. "Who are you?" Looking at Mo Qingyun and the others in front of him, A middle-aged man in the Thousand-Star City questioned with a cold expression. Hearing this middle-aged man's words, Qian Linglong did not waste any time talking nonsense with him. She directly took out a token and activated her bloodline power. Saintess token. She actually has the Saintess token. This is the bloodline power of the 1000 illusions. What a powerful bloodline grade. Her bloodline grade is so powerful, and she has the Saintess token. Could she be Saintess? Seeing Qian Linglong's actions, the people of the Thousand-Star Mansion immediately guessed her identity. Then, they bowed respectfully to Qian Linglong. Qian Linglong waved her hand indifferently in response to their actions and asked, "What happened? How did the Thousand-Star Mansion become like this? There's not even a single Saint Stage powerhouse?" Hearing Qian Linglong's question, the faces of the people of the Thousand-Star Mansion darkened, revealing a dejected and sorrowful expression. "Saintess, seniors, I'll tell you the details of what happened to the Thousand-Star Mansion in the mansion." A middle-aged man called Qian Xingyan waved his hand at Mo Qingyun and the others, indicating for them to sit down in the mansion. Chapter 2173. Shortly after, in the meeting hall of the Thousand-Star Mansion. After bringing Mo Qingyun and the others into the meeting hall, the Thousand-Star Silhouette no longer hesitated and immediately told them about the Thousand-Star Mansion's encounter. After listening to the Thousand-Star Silhouette story, Mo Qingyun understood why there were no Saint Stage powerhouses in the Thousand-Star Mansion. It turned out that the Saint Stage powerhouses of the Thousand-Star Mansion had all chosen to die rather than submit when faced with the Dark Devil race's recruitment and suppression. In the end, they had angered the Dark Devil race and killed all of them. Perhaps the Dark Devil race felt that since the Saint Stage powerhouses had been killed, the remaining clansmen were no longer a concern. However, what puzzled the Thousand-Star Silhouette and the others was that the Dark Devil race had suddenly retreated not long after occupying the Thousand-Star City. Mo Qingyun was very clear about this and knew why it was like this. "I hope the other branches won't suffer the same fate as the Thousand-Star branch." After learning about the Thousand-Star Mansion's encounter, Qian Linglong couldn't help but sigh as a sense of anticipation rose in her heart. It was a good thing that her clansmen would rather die than submit, but fearless sacrifices were something she didn't want to see. Thousand-Star Tatar Patriarch, in order for your branches to take care of each other, I want to set up a teleportation formation in the Thousand-Star Mansion. After learning about the Thousand-Star Mansion's situation, Mo Qingyun didn't want to waste any more time and immediately instructed the Thousand-Star Silhouette. Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the Thousand-Star Silhouette's expression immediately lit up and he hurriedly arranged a place to set up the formation. The Thousand-Star Mansion was currently at its weakest stage. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to describe it as a candle in the wind. It would be best if the other branches could take care of it. After a while, under the Thousand-Star Silhouette's arrangement, Mo Qingyun found a place to set up the formation. Since the Thousand-Star Mansion's protective formation had been destroyed when the Dark Devil race attacked, it needed to be repaired. With this, Mo Qingyun split up the work with Shuelong and the other two. He and Wen Yu set up the teleportation formation, while Shuelong and Yin Peng repaired the protective formation. In the blink of an eye, half a month had passed. After half a month, the protective formation and teleportation formation of the Thousand-Star Mansion were finally set up. After setting up the teleportation array, Mo Qingyun instructed Han Liu to move the Demon God Pavilion to the Thousand-Star City. Since the Thousand-Star Mansion was too weak, it was better to move the Demon God Pavilion here to ensure its safety. If they encountered any danger, the Demon God Pavilion could also send reinforcements to help the Thousand-Star Mansion. After dealing with the matters in the Thousand-Star City, Mo Qingyun and the others left and rushed to the next branch. Following this, Mo Qingyun and the others went to one branch after another like this. Unknowingly, a year had passed. After a year of hard work, all the branches of 1,000 illusions were finally conquered by Qian Linglong. As long as the main clan was taken over, the entire 1,000 illusions would be taken over by Qian Linglong. In the past year, other than reclaiming the various branches, Mo Qingyun and the others' strength had also improved greatly. Mo Qingyun's current strength had already broken through to the 4th level of the 9 Heavens Mystic Immortal Realm, and he had also condensed 8 Saint Power Star Clusters. With Mo Qingyun's tireless help, the Saint Power Star Clusters condensed by Qian Linglong and Qian Linglong had all reached a limit. Qian Linglong had condensed a total of 87 Saint Power Star Clusters, and King Devourer was even more terrifying. He had condensed a total of 106 Saint Power Star Clusters. Now, the strength of the two of them had increased several times compared to before, and they could not be compared at all. With Han Leo's cultivation at the Sage Perfection Realm, he could not even last 3 moves against King Devourer. Regarding this matter, Han Leo had suffered a huge blow, and his mood was extremely gloomy. It was precisely because of this that Han Leo completely put away his arrogance, and was even more in awe of Mo Qingyun and trusted him. He could only admit that he was unlucky to have encountered Mo Qingyun and the other 2 monsters. He had no choice but to admit defeat. Qianhe City, the city closest to the main clan, was very close to it. At this moment, in a courtyard of Qianhe Mansion in Qianhe City, Mo Qingyun and the other 3 sat together, discussing the next steps and how to take back the main clan. After more than a year, we've finally reached this step. Thinking about the hard work of the past year, Mo Qingyun could not help but sigh, and a look of anticipation appeared on his face. He said, "Next, as long as we drive the Dark Demon race out of the main clan, we can completely take back the 1,000 illusions." "Qingyun, thank you." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Qian Linglong was touched. She thanked Mo Qingyun and said, "If not for your help, it would be too difficult for me to take back the 1,000 illusions by myself." Qian Linglong knew very well that with her strength alone, she could not deal with the Dark Demon race. She did not even have full confidence in dealing with someone like Han Leo. Before she had condensed the Saint Power Star Cluster, she was not Han Leo's match. Putting aside her personal strength, just the teleportation formations set up by the various branches were enough to give her a headache. "Between you and me, there's no need to thank me." Hearing Qian Linglong's words, Mo Qingyun showed a gentle expression and shook his head with a faint smile. He said, "Although it's much easier to take back the branches after the Dark Demon race retreated, it's not easy to take back the main clan. This will be a tough battle." Mo Qingyun knew very well that the easier it was to take back the branches, the harder it would be to take back the main clan. More importantly, in his opinion, Zi Yunxiao was a difficult opponent. At least, Zi Ling could not compare to him. In the past year, Zi Yunxiao did not react at all when he took back the branches. This was enough proof. Of course, Mo Qingyun did not know that the main reason Zi Yunxiao did not make a move was that he was refining the bloodline. "Although I don't know what Zi Yunxiao is planning, we can't let our guard down." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Qian Linglong's pretty face tensed up, and her mood became much heavier. Although she had been looking forward to this moment, when it finally arrived, she was still a little nervous. At this moment, while Mo Qingyun and the others were discussing, the main clan of the 1,000 illusions was in chaos. A young man with a cold expression killed his way into the Dark Demon race's inner area in a domineering manner. If Mo Qingyun was here, he would definitely recognize this young man. It was Chao Xiong, who had escaped earlier. After a year of cultivation, Chao Xiong's current strength was even more terrifying than before. When he attacked, the number of Saint Power Star Clusters on his body had increased by nearly 2 times compared to before. Faced with Chao Xiong's crazy suppression, the Dark Demon race could not resist at all. They were all sent flying like chickens and pottery dogs. When the dark demon race powerhouses were sent flying, a young man in a golden robe walked out of a palace. The Yunxiao saint has come out of seclusion. Seeing the young man in the golden robe appear, the dark demon race powerhouses all smiled in pleasant surprise. Under everyone's gaze, Zi Yunxiao looked at Chao Xiong and said in an imperial tone, "Sir, it's better to have one more friend than one more enemy. I advise you to quit while you're ahead." Chapter 2174. The spots of light outside Zi Yunxiao's body were his Saint Power Star Cluster. As Zi Yunxiao activated the Saint Power Star Cluster, the aura he exuded immediately became several times stronger. Under Zi Yunxiao's aura, the cultivators of the Dark Demon Clan were all horrified. Such a powerful aura. The aura of a cultivator of the great attainment of the Saint Realm is only SOSO. Did the Yunxiao Saint's son raise his cultivation to the great attainment of the Saint Realm in this seclusion? The Yunxiao Saint's son is indeed a super genius of the clan. This cultivation speed is something we can only dream of. Fortunately, the Yunxiao Saint's son's strength has greatly increased. Otherwise, we would be helpless against this person's attack. While the cultivators of the Dark Demon Clan were pleasantly surprised, they also rejoiced. In their opinion, if Zi Yunxiao's cultivation had not broken through, they would have died under Chao Xiong's hands. Saint Power Star Cluster? Seeing the spots of light outside Zi Yunxiao's body, Chao Xiong was shocked and began to size him up. In his opinion, since Zi Yunxiao could condense the Saint Power Star Cluster, he must be someone from the outer realm. Even though the number of Saint Energy light balls that Zi Yunxiao had condensed was much smaller than his, he still could not afford to underestimate Zi Yunxiao. Immediately after, Chao Xiong put away his disdain and began to seriously size up Zi Yunxiao. Oh, this is the bloodline of the Heavenly Mandate Clan. So this person is from the Heavenly Mandate Clan. Under Chao Xiong's observation, he sensed Zi Yunxiao's bloodline, and shock appeared on his face again. Then, Chao Xiong put away his pride and arrogance, and his attitude became much more polite. He said, "So you are from the Heavenly Mandate Clan. I have offended you just now. I hope you will not take it to heart." "No worries." Seeing the change in Chao Xiong's attitude, Zi Yunxiao's expression turned better. He waved his hand at Chao Xiong and said, "As the saying goes, no discord, no concord. If you don't mind, why don't you come to my residence for a while and have a few drinks with me?" Chao Xiong instinctively became vigilant at Zi Yunxiao's invitation, and a worried expression appeared on his face. Seeing Chao Xiong's reaction, Zi Yunxiao did not care and looked at him indifferently. "Then I will disturb you." Chao Xiong thought for a moment, then accepted Zi Yunxiao's invitation and followed him into the manor. After leading Chao Xiong into the residence, Zi Yunxiao did not do anything to him. Instead, he brought him directly into a large hall. After bringing Chao Xiong into a large hall, Zi Yunxiao instructed the servants to immediately set up a banquet and prepare wine and dishes. Not long after, the wine and dishes were served. There was a wide variety of dishes, and they looked, smelled, and tasted good. "Fellow Taoist, let me offer you a toast." Seeing that the food and wine had been prepared, Zi Yunxiao, who was sitting at the very top of the hall, raised his wine cup to Chao Xiong and said, "I am Zi Yunxiao, the third holy son of the Dark Demon race. May I know your name?" "Chao Xiong." Hearing Zi Yunxiao's question, Chao Xiong directly stated his name without hiding anything. Knowing Chao Xiong's name, Zi Yunxiao revealed a curious expression and asked, "Brother Chao, with your cultivation and strength, you shouldn't be a nameless nobody. May I know where your sect of cultivation is?" Hearing Zi Yunxiao's words, a trace of a sinister smile appeared on Chao Xiong's face. He said, "Holy Son Yunxiao, to be honest, I was once under your jurisdiction. I was one of the thousands of Ziming you controlled." "There's such a thing?" Zi Yunxiao was stunned. The curiosity in his heart grew even stronger. He hurriedly said, "Brother Chow, hearing you say this makes me even more curious. I didn't know that there was such a peerless expert under my jurisdiction." Under Zi Yunxiao's curious gaze, Chao Xiong organized his words and said, "The previous owner of this body of mine was the son-in-law of the Thousand Rainbow Manor's patriarch. Tell me, was I under your jurisdiction in the past?" "So that's how it is." After Chao Xiong's explanation, a look of realization appeared on Zi Yunxiao's face. He laughed loudly and said, "Now that you've said it, that's really the case." When Zi Yunxiao's words fell, his brows knitted tightly together as he said in surprise, "Brother Chow, the previous owner of this body of yours was the son-in-law of the Thousand Rainbow Manor's patriarch in the past. You leaving the Thousand Rainbow Manor now, could it be related to Mo Qinyun?" In Zi Yunxiao's view, Mo Qinyun controlling the Thousand Rainbow Manor would surely eliminate all dissidents. With Chao Xiong's status, how could he be willing to submit to Mo Qinyun? His departure was virtually inevitable. What terrifying deductive abilities! Hearing Zi Yunxiao's question, Chao Xiong immediately revealed astonishment, his pair of eyes staring wide. He did not think that Zi Yunxiao could analyze so much information in a short few words. This kind of deductive ability was seriously too terrifying. Discovering that Zi Yunxiao was not simple, Chao Xiong's gaze when looking at him underwent a tremendous change. At the same time, Chao Xiong also secretly raised some vigilance against Zi Yunxiao in his heart. He had no choice but to be careful when dealing with Zi Yunxiao, lest he unknowingly sold him out. That's right. The reason I left the Thousand Rainbow Manor is indeed related to Mo Qinyun. Seeing that Zi Yunxiao had guessed it, Chao Xiong did not hide it and nodded honestly. He asked curiously, "Saint Sun Yunxiao, you seem to know Mo Qinyun very well. Could it be that you know him?" "You're saying that I know Mo Qinyun?" Zi Yunxiao's expression was slightly stunned. Following that, a faint smile appeared on his face as he shook his head. "No, I don't know him. I've never met him before. However, his confidant, Qian Linglong, was once heavily injured by me and nearly died at my hands. Thus, I crossed paths with him." "So that's how it is." After hearing Zi Yunxiao's explanation, Chao Xiong revealed a look of understanding. He knew the relationship between the two. From the looks of it, the enmity between these two people was not ordinary. In a courtyard in Thousand He City, a middle-aged man hurried over. This person was the patriarch of the Thousand He Manor, Qian He Xiang. Qian He Xiang arrived in front of Mo Qinyun. He revealed a serious expression and reported, "Mr. Mo, the clansmen who were scouting for information just reported that not long ago there was a fierce battle in the main clan. Many Saint Realm experts of the Dark Demon tribe were heavily injured by a mysterious expert." There was such a thing? Hearing Qian He Xiang's report, Mo Qingyun's expression was one of shock. Intense shock appeared on his face. After calming down the shock in his heart, Mo Qingyun's expression became nervous. He asked, "What happened after that? Did the Dark Demon tribe retreat? Did Zi Yunxiao show himself?" The people from the Dark Demon clan did not retreat. After Zi Yunxiao appeared, that person was invited to the residence. After reporting the information he had received, Qian He Xiang's expression became serious. He developed a strong sense of worry and said, "Mr. Mo, what if that expert was recruited by the Dark Demon tribe? If we want to deal with the Dark Demon tribe, the difficulty will increase infinitely. What should we do now?" "Don't be anxious. Let me think about it." Seeing Qian He Xiang's expression, Mo Qinyun stretched out his hand and comforted him. Then, he said, "How about this? I'll personally make a trip to the main clan and investigate the specific situation there. After that, we'll decide what to do." Chapter 2175. Seeing that Mo Qinyun was about to leave, Qian Linglong and Qian Linglong immediately became worried and hurriedly blocked Mo Qingyun's path. After blocking Mo Qingyun's path, Qian Linglong's pretty face tensed up as she said, "Qingyun, I'll go with you. If anything happens, we can take care of each other." "No need." Mo Qingyun directly rejected Qian Linglong's request and said, "The branch here has just stabilized, so I still need the two of you to hold down the fort. If anything happens, you can handle it in time." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the two girls nodded and could not refute Mo Qingyun's words. However, the two of them were still very worried about Mo Qingyun. Seeing that the two girls were still worried, Mo Qingyun smiled at them and said, "You don't have to worry too much. With my current strength, even if I encounter trouble, I can still protect myself." "Then you be careful." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Qian Linglong's worry lessened a little, and her face was filled with concern. Subsequently, Mo Qingyun left the Qian He estate under the escort of Qian Linglong and the others. After Mo Qingyun left Qian He Manor, he did not stop and quickly rushed to the headquarters. Boom, boom, boom. Not long after Mo Qingyun rushed, an earth-shattering sound suddenly came from the sky above the 1000 Illusions headquarters. Then, the heaven and earth vision above the headquarters became even more intense. What kind of treasure will the heaven and earth vision of the 1000 Illusions headquarters give birth to? Looking at the scene above the headquarters, Mo Qingyun frowned slightly, and his heart was filled with curiosity. He had seen many heaven and earth visions. However, he had never seen one like the one in front of him. This heaven and earth vision was too intense, and it lasted for too long. Although he did not know what would appear, Mo Qingyun was certain that the thing that would be born from this heaven and earth vision would not be simple. Mo Qingyun muttered to himself. He headed to the headquarters Sacred Land to check on Zi Yunxiao and the others. While Mo Qingyun was on his way, Zi Yunxiao and the others in the Great Hall of the Holy Land were alarmed by the strange phenomenon. "This rare phenomenon is getting stronger and stronger." Sensing the strange phenomenon outside, Zi Yunxiao grinned. His eyes were full of anticipation. Clearly, he was filled with anticipation and desire for the things that were born from the heavenly phenomenon. For such a violent phenomenon to occur, the treasure that could produce it must be extraordinary. I didn't expect a legacy phenomenon to appear in a low-level plane. Seeing the phenomenon above the main family, Chao Xiong was shocked. He saw the reason for this phenomenon and thought, if this continues, fate will soon gather. Once enough fate is gathered, the inheritance from the outer realm will descend. While Chao Xiong was pondering, a strong sense of anticipation rose in his heart. He was thinking about how to profit from the outer world's inheritance. Chao Xiong did not tell Zi Yunxiao about the worldly phenomenon. He only silently planned. He wanted to use his own experience to be one step ahead of the arrival of the outer realm's inheritance. He wanted to seize every opportunity inside. After a while, Chao Xiong discarded the distracting thoughts in his mind and turned to look at Zi Yunxiao. He continued the topic of their conversation. "Yunxiao Saint, from what you said, Mo Qingyun must have eradicated the dark demon race's branches to avenge Qian Linglong." "That should be the case." Zi Yunxiao nodded in agreement with Chao Xiong's guess. "Brother Chao, if I'm not wrong, the quiet woman beside Mo Qingyun should be the saintess of the 1000 Illusions, Qian Linglong." When Zi Yunxiao mentioned Qian Linglong, his expression changed. He sighed. "I didn't expect Mo Qingyun to be able to save Qian Linglong after she was struck by my soul-decaying annihilation palm. This guy is indeed quite capable. He's a very difficult enemy to deal with." Zi Yunxiao was very clear about the power of his soul-decaying annihilation palm and how difficult it was to neutralize it. Not only did Mo Qingyun save Qian Linglong, but he also greatly improved her strength. This ability was not something an ordinary person could compare to. This guy is indeed monstrous. He can't be underestimated. Chao Xiong immediately nodded in agreement when he heard Zi Yunxiao's words. He was very clear about how difficult Mo Qingyun was to deal with. Just by exchanging blows with him, Yi Shiwen had learned to condense the Saint Power star cluster. This talent was too terrifying. However, it won't be easy for him to avenge Qian Linglong. Thinking about his current strength, Zi Yunxiao's face was filled with confidence. A hint of mockery flashed in his eyes. He said, "If they dare to come to the main clan, I'll definitely make sure they don't return. I didn't manage to kill Qian Linglong last time. This time, I'll get rid of them all." Sensing Zi Yunxiao's killing intent, Chao Xiong frowned and became even more wary of Zi Yunxiao. He could feel that Zi Yunxiao was a ruthless person who would do anything to achieve his goals. He had to be wary of such a person. Saint Yunxiao, Mo Qingyun's group of 3 is quite strong. You still can't let your guard down. Thinking about the strength of Mo Qingyun's group, Chao Xiong immediately reminded Zi Yunxiao to prevent Zi Yunxiao from being careless and suffering a loss. No matter what, Zi Yunxiao was already his ally. They were already in a relationship where one of them suffered, the other suffered. Hearing Chao Xiong's reminder, Zi Yunxiao's expression turned solemn. He put away the contempt in his heart and said, "Brother Chao, you've fought with Mo Qingyun's group before. You should know his strength very well. Why don't you tell me about it in detail?" "All right." Chao Xiong agreed to Zi Yunxiao's request without hesitation. He said, "Qian Linglong and the mermaid should be able to deal with an ordinary Saint Perfection expert if they join forces. However, Mo Qingyun is very strange. He can't be judged by common sense. Although he's only at the first level of the 9 Heavens Xian, immortal realm, his strength is unusually strong. Back then, I condensed 17 Saint Power star clusters, but I still couldn't match him. He's that strong?" Zi Yunxiao was immediately shocked when he heard Chao Xiong's word. His expression became solemn as he thought to himself, over 10 years ago in the ancestral tomb of the Shaman clan, Mo Qingyun's strength was only comparable to the mid-saint realm. I never imagined that he would actually grow to such a level in a short 10 years. Zi Yunxiao's body emitted a chill when he thought of this. His killing intent towards Mo Qingyun grew even stronger. Mo Qingyun's growth was too fast. It had already caused him to feel apprehensive. If he didn't eliminate Mo Qingyun, it would be absolutely impossible for him to rule the entire wasteland continent in the future. At this moment, as Zi Yunxiao and Chao Xiong were talking, the phenomenon in the sky above the main clan became much more intense. Subsequently, balls of dragon-shaped mist converged towards the center of the phenomenon. Chao Xiong was immediately shocked when he saw this scene. He said to himself, "The karmic luck has begun to converge. Looks like the descent of the outer world's inheritance is most likely imminent. I just don't know which inheritance it is." Chapter 2176. Boom, boom, boom. As the fortune gathered, the phenomenon became more intense, and the sound became louder and louder. Gradually, the silhouettes of various beasts began to appear, and they all emitted a terrifying aura. The manifestation of fortune. Chao Xiong's expression immediately changed when he saw the phenomenon of heaven and earth. His heartbeat quickened as he said, "I didn't think that a lower plane would have such a scene of fortune. Is the wild continent about to enter its golden age? The things that come out of such a huge phenomenon must be extremely precious. I'm really looking forward to it." Looking at the strange phenomenon in the sky, Zi Yunxiao's lips curled into a faint smile. His face was full of anticipation. Hearing Zi Yunxiao's words, the experts of the Dark Demon clan behind him also had the same thought. At this moment, while Zi Yunxiao and the others were talking, a figure quietly approached them. This figure was Mo Qingyun, who was rushing over. "Wu Ziheng, it's him." When Mo Qingyun arrived near the main hall of the Holy Land, he discovered Wu Ziheng and immediately recognized him. After seeing Chao Xiong, Mo Qingyun was shocked and immediately felt worried. He knew Chao Xiong's strength very well. More importantly, Chao Xiong also knew how to condense the Saint Power Star Cluster. If he told Ziyun Xiao and the others about this method, their strength would increase greatly, and it would be much more difficult to deal with them. What should I do? After learning the identity of the mysterious expert, Mo Qingyun's mind spun quickly, thinking about what to do next. Should he deal with Ziyun Xiao and the others immediately and not give them time to condense a Saint Power Star Cluster, or should he wait and see? At this moment, while Mo Qingyun was thinking, he was also distracted. Someone's here? Chao Xiong sensed the soul power that Mo Qingyun released while he was distracted. Chao Xiong arrived before Mo Qingyun in a few flashes. Surprise appeared on his face. Boy, it's you. I didn't expect to see you again so soon. Seeing Chao Xiong's actions, Ziyun Xiao also moved and arrived before Mo Qingyun. You're Mo Qingyun? The person that our dark devil race has been trying to capture? Gazing at Mo Qingyun in front of him, Ziyun Xiao's eyes slightly narrowed as a look of astonishment appeared on his face. Hearing Ziyun Xiao's words, Mo Qingyun frowned and guessed his identity. He said, So you're Ziyun Xiao, the one who injured Ling Long. That's right, that's me. In the face of Mo Qingyun's questioning, Ziyun Xiao did not hide anything and admitted it without hesitation. After admitting his identity, a cold smile appeared on Ziyun Xiao's face. He said, Originally, I was thinking of waiting for all of you to arrive together before killing all of you. Who would have thought that you would come first? Since that's the case, I will capture you and slowly deal with Qian Linglong and the others. As soon as Ziyun Xiao finished speaking, he activated the Saint Power Star Cluster and released a powerful aura. Saint Power Star Cluster. Seeing the Saint Power Star Cluster on Ziyun Xiao's body, Mo Qingyun was immediately shocked. His expression became serious. He did not expect Ziyun Xiao to have already condensed the Saint Power Star Cluster. This change was too sudden. Since Ziyun Xiao has already condensed the Saint Power Star Cluster, the others must have mastered this technique as well. The situation is getting worse. Seeing Ziyun Xiao's performance, Mo Qingyun quickly made a decision. He thought to himself, It seems that I can't deal with Ziyun Xiao now. I have to find another way. Soul Decaying Annihilation Palm. As soon as Ziyun Xiao finished speaking, he blasted out a palm. Black Saint Power quickly gathered on his palm. Soon, a huge black palm filled with decaying aura came crashing down on Mo Qingyun. What a powerful superpower! Seeing Ziyun Xiao's attack, Mo Qingyun was shocked. He had a better understanding of Ziyun Xiao's strength. This Ziyun Xiao's strength is even stronger than Han Liu's. It seems that I have underestimated him. After knowing Ziyun Xiao's strength, Mo Qingyun no longer underestimated him. It was no coincidence that this person could become the Dark Devil race's holy son. Demonic Star-Splitting Palm. While Mo Qingyun was shocked, he did not stay idle and immediately counterattacked. A huge black palm shadow, carrying a powerful demonic power, blasted toward Ziyun Xiao's palm shadow. Boom! When the two palms collided, there was a loud explosion, creating a terrifying shockwave. Seeing the commotion caused by the battle between Mo Qingyun and Ziyun Xiao, the experts of the Dark Devil race below were shocked. It's too terrifying. The battle between the Cloud Sky Saint and Ziyun Xiao is comparable to an expert in the great perfection of the Saint realm. Who is that young man? He looks younger than the Cloud Sky Saint, but his strength is comparable to the Cloud Sky Saint. That person is Mo Qingyun, the #1 target of our Dark Devil race. I didn't expect him to have grown to this extent. This person's growth is too fast. The techniques he has mastered are also monstrous. No wonder he could defeat Saint Ancestor ZK back then. The experts of the Dark Devil race exclaimed when they recognized Mo Qingyun. At this moment, Chao Xiong's lips curled into a cold smile. Boy, I couldn't do anything to you last time because you had more people. Let's see how you'll escape this time. As soon as Chao Xiong finished speaking, he quickly formed a hand seal and summoned the small blood-red sword. The moment the small blood-red sword appeared, it created sword shadows that bombarded Mo Qingyun. Heavenly sun-piercing star pupil. Faced with Chao Xiong's attack, Mo Qingyun's expression immediately changed. He hurriedly activated his natural superpower. Then, a hot wave of eye intent shot out from his right eye. The red eye intent shot out like a meteor and hit the small blood-red sword. Clang! After being hit by the eye intent, the small blood-red sword trembled violently and its light dimmed a little. Because the small blood-red sword was damaged, Chao Xiong's mind, which was connected to it, was immediately injured. Ah! Chao Xiong screamed, a trace of blood flowing from the corner of his mouth. His face flushed red with anger. Boy, I'm not done with you. I'm going to tear you to pieces. Seeing Chao Xiong attack Mo Qingyun, Ziyun Xiao didn't dare to be careless. He also charged at Mo Qingyun. Having neutralized Chao Xiong's attack with a single strike and severely damaged his natal magic treasure, Mo Qingyun sneered. Today, I'm only here to test the waters. I'm not going to attack you, so I won't continue playing with you. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, his figure moved, and his body turned into a stream of light. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Chao Xiong and Ziyun Xiao were stunned. They were very surprised by Mo Qingyun's actions. They hadn't expected Mo Qingyun to be so straightforward. Mo Qingyun, you can't escape. Under the bombardment of Mo Qingyun's eye intent, Chao Xiong's mind was bombarded. He naturally wouldn't let this go. Chapter 2177. Since you want to give chase, I'll play with you. A faint smile appeared on Mo Qingyun's face as he looked at Chao Xiong and Chao Xiong chasing after him. He quickly waved his hands. As Mo Qingyun waved his hands, saint runes with astonishing auras appeared in front of him. When these formation patterns appeared, Mo Qingyun tossed them at Chao Xiong and Chao Xiong, blocking their advance. Faced with the successive attacks of the runes, Chao Xiong and Ziyun Xiao's footsteps were greatly hindered. This treacherous brat is too despicable. Chao Xiong's face darkened as he was blocked by the saint runes. His heart was filled with anger. Although Ziyun Xiao's anger wasn't as intense as Chao Xiong's, his expression was similarly ugly. Explode! While Chao Xiong and Ziyun Xiao were in a terrible fix from the saint runes, Mo Qingyun grinned and directly detonated the saint runes. As Mo Qingyun detonated the saint runes, it immediately created a storm of force that crazily attacked Chao Xiong and Ziyun Xiao. You're pissing me off. I'm going to skin you alive. Mo Qingyun, don't run if you have the ability. Didn't you want to avenge Qian Linglong? Ziyun Xiao was also enraged by the explosion of the saint runes and roared along with Chao Xiong. Mo Qingyun didn't care about their anger at all, and the smile on his face widened. Fire of civilization, Imperial Seal killing spirit eye. Mo Qingyun's left eye flashed with crimson light and blasted out two flame marks that instantly entered Chao Xiong and Ziyun Xiao's consciousness. Chao Xiong and Ziyun Xiao's bodies immediately trembled as they felt dizzy for a moment. Following that, the two of them stopped in their track. Chao Xiong and Ziyun Xiao weren't ordinary people, so they quickly recovered from the dizziness. When they regained their consciousness, the anger in their hearts grew even stronger. They almost lost all reason. Even with their strength, they'd been repeatedly toyed with by Mo Qingyun while chasing after Mo Qingyun. They simply couldn't tolerate this kind of thing. Soon after, Ziyun Xiao and the other man no longer held back as they madly chased after Mo Qingyun. Under the desperate efforts of Ziyun Xiao and Ziyun Xiao, their flying speed immediately increased by several notches. He's getting serious. Seeing the Ziyun Xiao duo's actions, Mo Qingyun grinned and said, It won't be easy for the two of you to catch up to me. I've played enough with you. It's time to say goodbye. Shadow Dragon Transformation. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, his figure expanded and turned into a shadow dragon in the blink of an eye. Mo Qingyun swung his dragon tail. His body turned into an afterimage and appeared 10,000 miles away. I'll leave your heads on your heads for now. The next time I come, it will be the time to take your heads. After putting some distance between himself and Chao Xiong, Mo Qingyun left behind some vicious words before disappearing once more. Brat, you won't be able to escape. Even if I have to chase you all the way to Qianhe City, I'll still kill you. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Chao Xiong was so angry that he gnashed his teeth. He had already tossed aside all reason. It was obvious that he was truly enraged in the exchange with Mo Qingyun earlier. Brother Chao, please remain calm. Seeing Chao Xiong's reaction, Ziyunshao immediately called out to him. With a grave expression, he said, with Mo Qingyun's flying speed, he clearly could easily shake us off, but he didn't do so. I suspect that he's purposely angering us and leading us into his trap. Hearing Ziyunshao's analysis, Chao Xiong's expression immediately trembled. Only now did he realize that he had lost all reason. Thank you for your reminder, Saint Sun Yunshao. I actually fell for Mo Qingyun's trap. That cunning and treacherous fellow. Thinking of the ambush that Mo Qingyun had set up, Chao Xiong revealed an expression of lingering fear. He was even more fearful of Mo Qingyun now. He was very clear that with Mo Qingyun's ability as a Saint Array Master, the traps he set up were extraordinarily terrifying. Seeing that Chao Xiong had regained his senses, Ziyunshao nodded calmly. A sinister smile appeared on his face as he said, Brother Chao, you don't have to be too anxious. Qian Linglong wants to subdue 1,000 illusions, so she will definitely come to the sacred land of 1,000 illusions. I'll just wait here patiently for them. Alright. Hearing Ziyunshao's words, Chao Xiong immediately nodded. He felt that Ziyunshao was right. Ziyunshao and Chao Xiong chatted for a while longer before they did not linger. They began to return to the sacred land of 1,000 illusions. If Mo Qingyun heard the conversation between Ziyunshao and Ziyunshao, he would definitely not know whether to laugh or cry. It had to be said that Ziyunshao and Chao Xiong were overthinking things. He had attacked Ziyunshao and Chao Xiong because he wanted to toy with them. It was not as sinister as they thought. After shaking off Ziyunshao and Chao Xiong, Mo Qingyun's mood did not ease. His expression was still solemn as he thought to himself, the strength that Chao Xiong displayed just now is much stronger than before. Ziyunshao's strength is also not to be underestimated. With our current strength, it will be very difficult to kill them. After a simple exchange with Ziyunshao and Chao Xiong, Mo Qingyun had a clear understanding of their strength. More importantly, if the Dark Demon race's powerhouses all condensed Saint Power star clusters, their strength would definitely increase tremendously. This kind of increase in battle strength was undoubtedly extremely terrifying. Mo Qingyun could not help but be on guard against it. Following this, Mo Qingyun returned to the Qianhe Manor with such feelings. Qingyun, how's the situation in the sacred land? Have you found out the identity of the mysterious powerhouse? Master, should we immediately launch an attack on the Dark Demon race and not give them a chance to join forces? Seeing that Mo Qingyun had returned, Qian Linglong and the others immediately came forward and asked Mo Qingyun one after another. Don't make a move for now. Hearing Qian Linglong and the others' questions, Mo Qingyun waved his hand at them and said with a solemn expression, I've already found out the identity of the mysterious powerhouse. He's Chao Xiong, who escaped from the Thousand Rainbow Manor. Chao Xiong? Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Qian Linglong and Chao Xiong's hearts sank, and they revealed worried expressions. Their thoughts were the same as Mo Qingyun's. They were also worried that Chao Xiong had taught Ziyun Shao and the others to condense Saint Power star clusters. If that was the case, the overall battle strength of the Dark Demon race would immediately increase by countless times. Seeing the two women's expressions, Mo Qingyun guessed their thoughts and said, "The situation that you're worried about has already happened. Ziyun Shao has already condensed Saint Power star clusters." The two women were shocked and their expressions became even more tense. Their beautiful brows were also tightly knitted together. If that was the case, things would become even more troublesome. It would be even more difficult to deal with Ziyun Shao. Now that the strength of the Dark Demon race is unknown, it's not good for us to act rashly. Let's observe for a while first. After understanding the current situation, Mo Qingyun reminded Qian Linglong and the others. He then said, "The heaven and earth vision above the main clan is so intense. There must be some precious treasure that's about to be unearthed. This might be an opportunity to change our situation." Chapter 2178. A short while later, Mo Qingyun and the others discussed for a while, and they finished discussing everything. After settling everything, Mo Qingyun looked at Han Liu and said, "Han Liu, come with me. I'll help you condense the Saint Power star cluster." During the conversation, Mo Qingyun had already decided to help Han Liu condense the Saint Power star cluster. With Han Liu's great attainment of the Saint realm, once he condensed the Saint Power star cluster, his strength would definitely increase exponentially. With such a helper, he would play an indispensable role in dealing with Ziyun Shao and the rest. "Help me condense the Saint Power star cluster?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Han Liu's expression was one of shock and disbelief. He had been by Mo Qingyun's side for a long time and naturally knew the reason why Mo Qingyun and the rest were so powerful. At the same time, he also knew how difficult it was to condense the Saint Power star cluster. In his opinion, given the time he had been with Mo Qingyun, he should not have received such treatment. He did not expect Mo Qingyun to say that he would help him condense the Saint Power star cluster. How could he not be happy? He could almost imagine how powerful he would be once he condensed the Saint Power star cluster. "Thank you for your guidance, Master." Suppressing the surprise in his heart, Han Liu immediately bowed to Mo Qingyun and followed her into the cultivation room. "Immediately run the Saint Power in your body and try to compress and condense it." After bringing Han Liu to the cultivation room, Mo Qingyun instructed him and activated the power of the Gate of Destinies at the same time. Soon, a mysterious power was born in Mo Qingyun's body. After activating the power of the Gate of Destinies, Mo Qingyun channeled it into Han Liu's body and helped him condense the Saint Power star cluster. With the previous experience, Mo Qingyun felt much more relaxed now that he was helping Han Liu condense the Saint Power star cluster. Not long after, a powerful Saint Power star cluster formed in Han Liu's body. What disappointed Mo Qingyun was that the power of Han Liu's Saint Power star cluster was obviously not as powerful as Qianlinglong's. This was the difference in talent, and it was impossible for others to change it. Although it was a little worse than expected, Mo Qingyun didn't mind it too much. It was still within his acceptable range. So powerful! So this is the Saint Power star cluster. No wonder Master is so powerful. Sensing the aura of the Saint Power star cluster in his body, Han Liu was ecstatic and excited. While Han Liu was feeling excited, he did not dare to relax his mind as he focused on condensing the Saint energy in his body. In the blink of an eye, 3 days passed. Mo Qingyun's mind had been exhausted to the extreme, and he could no longer help Han Liu condense the Saint Power star cluster. In the past 3 days, he had helped Han Liu condense a total of 9 Saint Power star clusters. "Thank you, Master. Compared to before, my current strength has at least doubled." Sensing the increase in his strength, Han Liu's face was filled with ecstasy, and he couldn't suppress the excitement in his heart. In just 3 days, his strength had doubled. This was too shocking for him. In response to Han Leo's gratitude, Mo Qingyun waved his hand indifferently and said, "With the purity of your saint energy, you should be able to condense 50 saint power star clusters. Before the rare treasure appears, I will do my best to help you condense the saint power star clusters." 50. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Han Leo immediately felt dizzy, and his heart almost jumped out of his chest. He had only condensed 9 saint power star clusters, and his strength had increased by so much. If he could condense 50 saint power star clusters, it would be amazing. After instructing Han Leo, Mo Qingyun waved his hand at him and said, "Leave the cultivation room first and get used to the increase in your combat strength. Wait for me to adjust my breath and recover my mind, then I will summon you here." "Yes." Hearing Mo Qingyun's instructions, Han Leo didn't stay any longer and immediately left the secret room. After letting Han Leo leave the secret room, Mo Qingyun didn't waste any more time and immediately immersed himself in cultivation. Mo Qingyun realized that although helping Han Leo and the others condense the Saint Power star clusters would consume a lot of his mind and spirit, he had used up a lot of his energy. However, after trying so hard again and again, his mind had become more resilient. This was also an unexpected gain. A few days later, Mo Qingyun's mind had recovered, and he summoned Han Leo to continue condensing the Saint Power star clusters for him. This time, it took another 3 days to condense the Saint Power star clusters. What surprised Mo Qingyun was that the heaven and earth vision above the main clan still showed no signs of stopping. Seeing this, Mo Qingyun patiently helped Han Leo condense the Saint Power star clusters. In the process of Han Leo condensing the Saint Power star clusters, many experts came to Qianhe City. It seemed that it was all because of the heaven and earth vision. As the heaven and earth rare treasure had yet to be unearthed, although many experts had gathered in Qianhe City, everything was peaceful. Time flew by, and unknowingly, another month had passed. Boom! Boom! On this day, an earth-shattering sound came from the sky. Following that, everyone saw a huge object appear in the sky above the 1,000 illusions. This was a huge continent. When this continent descended, it produced a terrifying aura that charged toward the wasteland continent. Under the impact of this aura, the entire wasteland continent seemed to shake because of it. This great movement immediately attracted the attention of all, and drew their attention to it. The heaven and earth rare treasure that they had been waiting for finally appeared above them. Immediately, these people no longer hesitated and immediately flew toward the continent in the sky. In the cultivation room. What's going on? Could it be that Zi Yunxiao has brought people over? Sensing the commotion outside, Mo Qingyun's face darkened, and his expression became serious. It was not a good thing for Zi Yunxiao to attack at this time. It would put them in a very passive situation. Of course, Mo Qingyun was not worried. The Qianhe Mansion's defensive array was very strong. Even if Zi Yunxiao had condensed the Saint Power star cluster, it would not be easy for him to break through the Qianhe Mansion's defensive array. Let's go out and take a look. Mo Qingyun pondered for a moment, then stood up and walked out of the cultivation room. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Han Leo looked worried and hurriedly said, "Master, you've exhausted a lot of your mind. Why don't you rest for a while? I'll report to you after I figure out the situation. How about that?" "There's no need. Although I've exhausted a lot of my mind, it won't affect me much." In response to Han Leo's advice, Mo Qingyun waved his hand and walked out of the cultivation room without stopping. When Mo Qingyun arrived outside the secret room, he saw Qian Linglong and the other 2 women waiting outside his cultivation room. Chapter 2179. Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, Qian Linglong raised her hand and pointed to the sky. Everything was understood without words. Following the direction of Qian Linglong's finger, Mo Qingyun saw the outer world continent and understood the reason for the phenomenon. It turned out that the appearance of the phenomenon was not because of a rare treasure, but because of the outer world's inheritance. Seeing that Mo Qingyun understood, Qian Linglong's pretty face turned serious. She asked, "Qingyun, recently, many experts from other clans have come to Qianhe City and the main clan. They have already gone to the land of heritage. Should we follow them now?" The outer world's inheritance? Looking at the land of heritage in midair, Mo Qingyun's expression changed. His eyes flashed with fanaticism. He said, "Since it's the outer world's inheritance, there might be a cultivation technique from the outer world inside. If we can find the cultivation technique from the outer world, we will have the real method to condense the Saint Power star cluster." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Qian Linglong and the other two became excited. They knew very well that although Mo Qingyun could condense the Saint Power star cluster, it was not the most orthodox method. Mo Qingyun just took a different path. Moreover, Mo Qingyun helped people condense the Saint Power star cluster, but there was a huge limitation. He could not condense the Saint Power star cluster for too many people. If they could find the cultivation technique from the outer world, then the situation would be completely different. "Come, let's follow them." After saying his thoughts, Mo Qingyun did not want to waste any time and immediately flew to the land of heritage. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Han Liu had a worried expression. He said, "Master, you've exhausted too much of your mind. Why don't you enter my demon god pagoda to cultivate first? When your mind recovers, we can explore the land of heritage together." "All right." Hearing Han Liu's suggestion, Mo Qingyun did not hesitate and immediately nodded in agreement. His mind was too tired now. Forcing himself to enter the land of heritage to explore was not a long-term plan. Rather than forcing himself to endure like this, it was better to regulate his breathing and recover first, then explore wholeheartedly. Seeing that Mo Qingyun had agreed, Han Liu no longer hesitated and immediately took out a small green tower. On the small pagoda, there were pictures of demonic beasts that emitted different auras. From the looks of it, the Fey God pagoda in his possession was no ordinary treasure. "If you encounter any danger, immediately send word to me. Do not recklessly fight with others." Upon seeing Han Liu conjure the Fey God pagoda, Mo Qingyun exhorted the rest before entering the Fey God pagoda. "Mistress, let's go." Seeing Mo Qingyun enter the Fey God pagoda, Han Liu requested permission from Qian Linglong and set off for the land of heritage. Although the heritage continent didn't seem far, it was still very far away from the wasteland continent. With the strength of Qian Linglong and the other two, it took them 2 full days to reach the heritage land. When Qian Linglong and the other two arrived at the land of inheritance, they realized that there was a layer of terrifying flames surrounding the land of inheritance. This is the fire of civilization. Seeing the layer of flames, Qian Linglong and the others were shocked as they recognized the flames. As Mo Qingyun often used the fire of civilization to fight, they were very familiar with the fire of civilization. Of course, the fire of civilization surrounding the land of heritage was much more powerful than Mo Qingyun's. It was because of this that many Outer Realm experts couldn't come to the Wasteland continent. It was also because of this that 99% of the experts on the Wasteland continent couldn't leave the Wasteland continent. So there is a layer of fire of civilization barrier in the sky above the Wasteland continent. The defense of this fire of civilization barrier is too terrifying. It actually blocked the land of heritage from the Outer Realm. Fortunately, the fire of civilization barrier is there. Otherwise, the 1,000 illusions would have been destroyed by the land of heritage. Not only would the 1,000 illusions be destroyed, but everyone in the 1,000 illusions would be smashed into pieces by the land of heritage. Looking at the scene in front of them, the surrounding people were shocked and couldn't help but feel scared. everyone talked to each other and began to observe the land of heritage, looking for a place to enter. Under their observation, they found that the fire of civilization around a corner of the land of heritage was the weakest. After discovering this, they no longer hesitated and flew towards that corner together. When everyone flew towards the corner of the entrance, Qian Linglong and the other two didn't hesitate and flew towards the corner of the entrance. When Qian Linglong and the other two arrived at the corner of the entrance, Zi Yunxiao and the others also arrived and appeared not far from them. Zi Yunxiao. Looking at Zi Yunxiao in front of her, Qian Linglong's face immediately turned ugly and emitted a strong murderous intent. Although she was very angry, Qian Linglong didn't attack immediately. She thought about Mo Qingyun's previous instructions. She knew very well that without Mo Qingyun's help, they might not be a match for Zi Yunxiao and the others. It wasn't a wise choice to act rashly. Qian Linglong, I didn't expect you guys to come too. Sensing Qian Linglong's cold gaze, Zi Yunxiao turned his head and looked over. A sinister smile appeared at the corners of his lips as he said, "Why don't I see Mo Qingyun? Did he stay in Qianhe Manor to set up a trap and wait for us to deliver ourselves to him?" Hearing Zi Yunxiao's words, Qian Linglong and the others were stunned. They didn't understand what he meant. They didn't understand why Zi Yunxiao would think that Mo Qingyun was setting a trap for them. Although Qian Linglong didn't understand Zi Yunxiao's thoughts, she didn't explain and only smiled meaningfully. Seeing that Qian Linglong was silent, Zi Yunxiao thought that she had tacitly agreed and was even more certain of his thoughts. He said proudly, "Go back and tell Mo Qingyun that he's setting a trap for me. I'm afraid he'll be disappointed. I'm not in the mood to care about him right now. I want to enter the outside world continent and look for the inheritance left behind by the outside world expert." After Zi Yunxiao said that, he ignored Qian Linglong and immediately flew towards the outside world continent. Qian Linglong didn't say anything about Zi Yunxiao's actions. She also wanted to fly towards the outside world continent. Soon, Qian Linglong and the others entered the outside world continent and saw a vast land. When Qian Linglong and the others looked around, they discovered that the outside world continent wasn't very big. It was only about the same size as the main clan of the 1,000 illusions. "I didn't expect you guys to dare to follow me. In that case, I won't be polite." Seeing that Qian Linglong and the others had also entered, Zi Yunxiao's gaze turned cold and he immediately approached Qian Linglong and the others. When Qian Linglong and the others saw that Zi Yunxiao and the others were attacking, they frowned and quickly exchanged glances. Soon, they knew what Zi Yunxiao and the others were thinking. They didn't want to fight with Zi Yunxiao and the others for the time being. "Our main mission here is to find the cultivation technique of the outside world. Don't waste time on Zi Yunxiao," Qian Linglong said to the two of them before she turned around and left. She didn't want to be entangled with Zi Yunxiao and the others. Chapter 2180. Chase. Seeing that Qian Linglong and the other two were about to escape, Zi Yunxiao's face darkened and he immediately urged Chao Xiong and the rest. As soon as Zi Yunxiao finished his words, his figure flashed and he took the lead to chase after Qian Linglong and the other two. Seeing Zi Yunxiao's actions, Chao Xiong and the rest did not hesitate and quickly followed behind Zi Yunxiao. Then, Qian Linglong and the other two and Zi Yunxiao's group formed a situation where one ran and the other chased. "Mistress, Zi Yunxiao and the rest don't seem to be that strong." While Qian Linglong and the other two were escaping, Han Liu had a surprised expression on his face. He realized that something was wrong and said, "Among Zi Yunxiao and the others, it seems that only Zi Yunxiao and Chao Xiong have condensed the Saint Power Star Cluster. With our strength, it is not difficult to deal with them." That seems to be the case. Other than Zi Yunxiao and Chao Xiong, the rest of the Saint Power fluctuations are very weak. Hearing Han Liu's words, King Devourer quickly sensed it and was surprised. With King Devourer and Chao Xiong's reminder, Qian Linglong also sensed it and realized that it was true. It seems that Chao Xiong only told Zi Yunxiao about the method of condensing the Saint Power star cluster. Noticing the situation of Zi Yunxiao and the rest, Qian Linglong guessed a possibility and hesitated. Seeing her enemies in front of her, it was impossible for her not to have thoughts of revenge. However, Mo Qinyun had told them not to fight with others rashly and to wait for Mo Qinyun to recover. Devourer, communicate with Qinyun and ask him what his decision is. Qian Linglong struggled in her heart but did not fight back rashly. She decided to ask Mo Qinyun for his opinion first. Hearing Qian Linglong's instructions, King Devourer responded and communicated with Mo Qinyun through their souls. After a short while, after listening to Mo Qinyun's instructions, the sky-devouring mermaid queen smiled evilly. She said, "Mistress, Master wants us to pretend to be weak first and act as if we are no match for them. We will confuse Zi Yunxiao and the others. When Master recovers, we will kill them all in one go." Hearing Mo Qingyun's idea from King Devourer, Qian Linglong's eyes lit up. She had to admit that Mo Qingyun's suggestion was good. It was a good plan. This way, they could lure the enemy in and make Chao and the rest underestimate them and completely cut off their escape route. If that's the case, we'll stall them. After receiving Mo Qingyun's instructions, Qian Linglong no longer hesitated and continued to flee with the heaven-devouring mermaid queen. Just as Mo Qinyun had guessed, Zi Yunxiao was even more disdainful of Qian Linglong and the other two when he saw them running away. "Humph! You won't be able to escape." Looking at Qian Linglong and the other two in front of him, Zi Yunxiao revealed a sinister expression. With a complacent sneer, he said, "Don't worry, after I kill you all, I will have Mo Qinyun accompany you." In Zi Yunxiao's eyes, Qian Linglong and the rest were already prey. It was only a matter of time before he killed them. When Qian Linglong and the others heard Zi Yunxiao's words, they immediately smiled evilly. It was hard to say who was the prey when the time came. For the rest of the time, the two sides chased and fled like this. This situation lasted for 2 days. Seeing that he could not catch up to Qian Linglong and the other two, Zi Yunxiao became impatient and did not continue to chase after them. "Saint Yunxiao, why did you stop?" Seeing Zi Yunxiao stop, Chao Xiong was puzzled and immediately asked him. Zi Yunxiao's expression became serious when he heard Chao Xiong's question. He said, "Brother Chao, have you not discovered that with Qian Linglong and the others' flying speed, they could have completely shaken us off? However, they did not do so. Isn't that extremely strange?" "That's really the case." With Zi Yunxiao's reminder, Brother Chao suddenly realized that the situation seemed to be true. He guessed, "Saint Yunxiao, do you mean that Qian Linglong and the rest are doing this to lure the enemy in and scheme against us?" "I can't guarantee that, but there's definitely a trap." Zi Yunxiao's expression was serious as he replied to Brother Chao. He then said, "Just in case, I've decided to temporarily give up on chasing after them and search for treasures in the land of inheritance." "That's good too." Hearing Zi Yunxiao's suggestion, Chao Xiong immediately nodded in agreement. If not for the lack of an excuse, he would have already given up chasing and searched for treasures in the land of inheritance. After agreeing to Zi Yunxiao's suggestion, Chao Xiong no longer hid his thoughts. He said, "Saint Yunxiao, the land of inheritance is very big. In order to maximize the benefits, I think it's better for us to act separately. No matter what the final harvest is, we'll gather here in a month." "Okay." Zi Yunxiao did not object to Chao Xiong's suggestion and immediately nodded in agreement. He was also worried that if he acted together with Chao Xiong and obtained some treasures, he wouldn't be able to share them with Chao Xiong. Zi Yunxiao and Zi Yunxiao came to an agreement. They would split up and search for treasures in the land of inheritance alone. As Zi Yunxiao and the rest went to search for treasures, Qian Linglong and the rest felt that something was wrong. They realized that Zi Yunxiao and the rest did not chase after them. Mistress, Zi Yunxiao and the rest did not chase after us. Master's plan seems to have failed. Seeing that Zi Yunxiao and the rest did not chase after them, Han Liu frowned and his expression became serious. This sudden change caught him off guard. This was something he had not expected. Hearing Han Liu's words, Qian Linglong's face also tensed up. She did not know what to do. While Qian Linglong and the rest were at a loss, Mo Qinyun sent a voice transmission to Han Liu, telling him that he had finished meditating. Mistress, Master's cultivation has ended. After receiving Mo Qinyun's voice transmission, Han Liu's expression immediately brightened. It was as if he had found his pillar of support. Hearing Han Liu's words, Qian Linglong and Qian Linglong's expressions also brightened. Following that, Mo Qinyun appeared before them and asked about the current situation. Under Mo Qinyun's questioning, Qian Linglong explained the situation and asked, Qinyun, Zi Yunxiao and the rest have given up on pursuing us. What should we do now? Give up on pursuing us? Knowing Zi Yunxiao's actions, Mo Qinyun was a little surprised. He immediately raised his opinion of Zi Yunxiao and said, This Zi Yunxiao is very cautious. He is indeed a difficult person to deal with. We can't underestimate him at all. Mo Qinyun muttered to himself. He revealed a pondering expression as he considered the next step of the plan. Soon, Mo Qinyun knew what to do. He began to explain to Qian Linglong and the rest, Zi Yunxiao and the rest cannot escape. Since the previous plan has failed, let's search the Outer Realm continent and find the Outer Realm's cultivation method first. Chapter 2181. Seeing Mo Qinyun fly forward, Qian Linglong and the other two quickly followed and flew into the depths of the land of inheritance. Perhaps because they were unable to kill Zi Yunxiao, Qian Linglong's mood became somewhat heavy. Seeing Qian Linglong's expression, Mo Qinyun immediately guessed her thoughts and comforted her. Although my plan failed, it was not completely useless. If I'm not wrong, Zi Yunxiao and the others have already subconsciously started to look down on us. Hearing Mo Qinyun's analysis, Qian Linglong nodded her head. She could not deny this point. Previously, when I asked you to run for your lives and not fight with Zi Yunxiao and the others, the main reason was because of this. After explaining his previous thoughts, Mo Qinyun's face revealed a faint smile and said, Since we have achieved our goal, this unforeseen event that happened in the middle only allowed Zi Yunxiao and the others to live a little longer. Could not change their fate. Hearing Mo Qinyun's words, the knot in Qian Linglong's heart was untied and a smile appeared on her face once again. Following this, Mo Qinyun and the others hurried on as they discussed their future plans. After a few hours, Mo Qinyun and the others hurried along the way and arrived in front of an ancient castle. They saw many demonic beasts carved on the walls. These demonic beasts were very strange. Even with Mo Qinyun and the others' experience, they could not recognize a few of them. Seeing this situation, Mo Qinyun immediately became excited and was filled with curiosity about this ancient castle. Let's go in. After informing Qian Linglong and the others, Mo Qinyun did not hesitate and immediately walked into the ancient castle. After walking into the ancient castle, a dense aura of vicissitudes rushed towards Mo Qinyun and the others. The tables and chairs in the ancient castle had all been weathered due to the passage of time. The interior of the ancient castle wasn't big, so it was possible to see everything with a single glance. The entire ancient castle was very clean and there were no traces of fighting. It made one wonder why it had declined. Looks like this is an abandoned ancient castle. There is nothing valuable here. Qian Linglong looked disappointed as she scanned the entire castle. She couldn't help but sigh. While Qian Linglong was sighing, Mo Qinyun's expression changed. His gaze fell on a corner of the hall. He could clearly feel that there was a trace of formation energy remaining on an oil lamp in the corner. Although the fluctuations of this array power were very weak, it gave Mo Qingyun an extremely important warning. This seemingly simple oil lamp could be a part of an array formation. In other words, there used to be an ancient formation in this abandoned castle. When Mo Qingyun thought of this, he walked towards the oil lamp and observed it carefully. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Qian Linglong and the others quickly followed him and looked at the oil lamp. However, they did not understand array formations. Therefore, they were unable to sense the faint fluctuations of array power from the oil lamp. Although they did not understand what Mo Qingyun was doing, Qian Linglong and the others did not disturb him. They just stood silently by the side. Subsequently, Mo Qingyun carefully observed the oil lamp under the gaze of Qian Linglong and the others. About 15 minutes later, Mo Qingyun, who had been observing the oil lamp, smiled and immediately waved his hands. As Mo Qingyun waved his hands, sacred inscriptions with astonishing array power appeared in front of everyone. When these sacred inscriptions appeared, they flew into the oil lamp and spread out with the oil lamp as the center. Gradually, the embryonic form of an array formation appeared in front of Qian Linglong and the others. When they saw this scene, Qian Linglong and the others were shocked. They found it hard to believe. At this moment, no matter how stupid they were, they could tell that the oil lamp was not simple. When they realized that the oil lamp was not simple, Qian Linglong and the others immediately retreated so that Mo Qingyun could repair the array formation better. The rest of the time passed slowly. As he did not know what the original array formation was, Mo Qingyun could only try to restore the array formation in the ancient castle to its original state. In the blink of an eye, 3 days had passed. Under Mo Qingyun's tireless attempts, he finally repaired the array formation and restored it to its original state. Disperse. Mo Qingyun quickly formed a hand seal and struck it into the array formation to remove it. As the array formation was removed, the scene in the main hall began to change and slowly revealed its original appearance. Broken skeletons slowly appeared in front of Mo Qingyun and the others. All kinds of broken weapons were scattered all around them. When they saw this scene, Qian Linglong and the others were stunned. They could not believe what they had seen. They did not expect the real situation in the ancient castle to be like this. There was actually a fierce battle here. Judging from these skeletons, it should be a battle between many tribes. Looking at the skeletons of different sizes on the ground, Mo Qingyun could imagine the situation of the battle at that time. After discovering this situation, Mo Qingyun's curiosity about the ancient castle immediately became stronger. Mo Qingyun muttered to himself. He walked towards a chair in the main hall and poured his immortal spiritual energy into it. Boom, boom, boom. As the immortal spiritual energy was poured into the chair shook and slowly started to turn. When the chair started to turn, a hidden secret passage appeared in front of Mo Qingyun and the others. Seeing the secret passage in front of them, Mo Qingyun flipped his palm and condensed a ball of flame in his palm. Then, Mo Qingyun used the ball of flame to walk into the secret passage. Seeing Mo Qingyun enter the secret passage, Qian Linglong and the others quickly followed and entered the secret passage. After a while, Mo Qingyun and the others arrived at the end of the secret passage and saw a scene that shocked them. At the end of the secret passage was a huge stone room, sealed with all kinds of powerful corpses. At a glance, these sealed corpses were exactly the same as the pictures on the walls of the ancient castle. The corpses sealed here and the skeletons in the main hall seemed to match many of the skeletons sealed here. Thinking of the skeletons in the main hall, Mo Qingyun found the key point and roughly guessed the reason for the battle. It must be that the owner of the ancient castle had captured the people of the same tribe, causing them to come and seek revenge. Mo Qingyun quickly thought about it and looked at another place. He found a huge altar. When Mo Qingyun saw the altar, his body immediately shook and his face was filled with shock. This is the blood-changing altar. Looking at the altar in front of him, Mo Qingyun couldn't help but recall the blood-changing altar in Ko Kuan's cave abode number 9 at the Demon River. Although the blood-changing altar was not as big and powerful as this one, the structure of the two was exactly the same. After discovering this, Mo Qingyun was greatly alarmed. He thought of a terrifying situation. Chapter 2182. Qingyun, do you know the function of that altar? Qian Linglong was shocked when she saw Mo Qingyun's reaction. She immediately asked him. Mo Qingyun's expression turned serious when he heard Qian Linglong's question. He nodded and said, "If I'm not wrong, the function of this altar should be the same as the dark demon race's blood-changing altar. It's for transplanting and changing the bloodline in the body." Qian Linglong and the others' expressions changed when they heard Mo Qingyun's words. They were shocked by his words. Could it be that the dark demon race also existed in the other planes outside the realm? You're right. The dark demon race definitely exists in the other planes outside the realm. Mo Qingyun nodded when he saw Qian Linglong and the others' reactions. He confirmed their thoughts and said, "If I'm not wrong, the dark demon race on the wild continent might have escaped from the outer realm." Qian Linglong and the others were stunned when they heard Mo Qingyun's analysis. Then they understood. It seemed that the dark demon race on the outer realm was attacked by the outer realm's various races. If a race like the dark demon race is allowed to grow, the other races will become their vassals. I don't think they can be considered vassals. They can only be regarded as cultivation resources. Based on the current situation, the dark demon race in the outer realm should have been exterminated. Qian Linglong and the others relaxed when they thought that the dark demon race in the outer realm might have been exterminated. Mo Qingyun shook his head when he heard Qian Linglong and the others' words. He said, "The dark demon race is powerful and has a strong foundation. They might not be completely exterminated by the other races. For example, the dark demon race on the wild continent survived even though they were attacked by the other races." Qian Linglong and the others' expressions immediately became serious when they heard Mo Qingyun's words. According to the situation on the wild continent, the dark demon race on the outer realm continent was most likely not exterminated. Just the dark devil race of the wild continent was already this powerful. Just how powerful would the dark devil race of the outer realm be? After chatting with Qian Linglong and the others for a while, Mo Qingyun walked towards the corpses of the demonic beasts and suddenly had a bold idea. He thought to himself, "These sealed corpses of the demonic beasts are extremely powerful. If I can refine them into clones, it would be a great choice." These corpses were different from the Xuanwu corpses that Mo Qingyun had obtained before. They were not corpses that Mo Qingyun could not refine at the moment. Besides, even if Mo Qingyun couldn't use all of these corpses, it would be good to give them to He Xian and the others. With this thought in mind, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated and immediately collected the corpses. After collecting all the corpses of the demonic beasts, Mo Qingyun walked towards the blood exchange altar, wanting to confirm it further. After observing it for a while, Mo Qingyun was finally able to confirm that this was the blood exchange altar of the dark devil race. After observing the blood exchange altar for a while, Mo Qingyun's gaze fell on the blood pools at the side. Due to the passage of countless years, the blood pools that were once filled with blood had now turned into pieces of blood crystals. The energy contained in these blood crystals is comparable to some powerful cultivation sage elixirs. They are good cultivation materials. After picking up a piece of blood crystal and observing it, Mo Qingyun was pleasantly surprised. He immediately collected all the blood crystals. After a while, Mo Qingyun took all the valuable items in the secret underground chamber. Although the harvest this time is good, it's a pity that we didn't find any cultivation techniques from the outer realm. Before Mo Qingyun left the secret underground chamber, he glanced around and couldn't help but sigh. He said, "Let's go and continue to look for new ruins. Let's see if we can find any cultivation technique. After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he walked out of the secret underground chamber. Seeing this, Qian Linglong and the other two hurriedly followed him back into the ancient castle. Standing in the ancient castle and looking at the corpses in the main hall, Mo Qingyun couldn't help but sigh again. He said, "It's a pity that the gate of fortune is broken. I can't use the martial soul magic gate. Otherwise, it would be good to summon some ghosts to help me search for treasures." Ever since the gate of fortune was broken and merged with his body, he still couldn't get used to it. Mo Qingyun sighed. He didn't think too much and walked out of the ancient castle. Let's go east. When they arrived outside the ancient castle, Mo Qingyun scanned the surroundings before leading Qian Linglong and the other two towards the east. Not long after, Mo Qingyun and the other three found another ruin. This was the ruin of an ordinary sect. What disappointed Mo Qingyun was that there wasn't even a corpse, let alone an outer realm cultivation technique. Mo Qingyun had no choice but to continue forward and look for other ruins. A few hours later, as Mo Qingyun and the other three continued to move forward, they saw other people who had come to explore this place. These people were all in a hurry and were moving in the same direction as if they had found some treasures. Let's follow them and take a look. Seeing these people's abnormal behavior, Mo Qingyun told Qian Linglong and the other two and followed behind them. Not long after, Mo Qingyun followed these people and arrived in front of a huge tomb. On the tomb there were many demonic beasts engraved on it. It was exactly the same as the ancient castle from before. It seems like this tomb should be related to the Dark Demon tribe. Mo Qingyun sized up the mausoleum and discovered its origins. He was curious about this mausoleum, the tomb of the ancestors of the Dark Demon tribe. There should be some good things inside. Perhaps there might even be a cultivation technique from the outer realm. Just as Mo Qingyun's heart was filled with anticipation, his brows furrowed tightly, and a troubled expression appeared on his face. The mausoleum in front of him was surrounded by a high-level formation, which made it somewhat troublesome to enter. "Is there anyone who is good at formations? Please come out and break the formation." This formation is very high-level. It's almost comparable to a high-level saint formation. Only a high-level saint formation master can break it. Not necessarily. This formation has existed for too long. Its power is far from what it used to be. A mid-grade saint formation master can give it a try. A few people who knew about formations walked to the front of the mausoleum and began to talk. However, it was obvious that they couldn't break the formation. They were just wasting time. Seeing these people's behavior, Mo Qingyun hesitated for a moment before walking towards the tomb. Instead of letting these people waste time, he might as well do it himself and quickly break the array. However, before Mo Qingyun could take more than a few steps, his path was blocked by someone. Chapter 2183. Seeing this person attack, Mo Qingyun's body immediately flashed, and he easily dodged this palm strike. The centaur was shocked to see that his attack was dodged. He stared at Mo Qingyun and said, "Interesting. You actually dodged my attack. I'll play with you then." As soon as this person finished speaking, he did not give Mo Qingyun a chance to speak and immediately rushed towards Mo Qingyun. His attack, which was suspected of being a sneak attack, was dodged by a person in the Nine Heavens mystic immortal realm. To him, this was undoubtedly a great humiliation. It gave him a strong sense of mockery. Mo Qingyun's face turned ugly when he saw that the person had attacked him again. He was furious. Even a man would have a temper. Now that the other party had provoked him again and again, it would be unreasonable if he did not retaliate. Most importantly, Mo Qingyun had already decided that he wanted to monopolize the Dark Demon race's mausoleum. In that case, he had nothing to say. He could use this opportunity to chase them away. He was not a kind person. After breaking the mausoleum's formation, he would allow others to enter together. Shenzhen is using his power to bully others again. That's all he's capable of. He can only bully the weak. He attacked this kid because he wants to use this opportunity to get on the good side of the few Saint Array Masters. This kid is really unlucky. He caught Shenzhen's eye and became Shenzhen's pretentious cornerstone. Everyone looked at Emo Qingyun in disdain when they saw that person attacking Emo Qingyun. They sympathized with him. Just as they were worried about Emo Qingyun, the next scene shocked them. Get lost. Looking at Shenzhen, who was attacking again, Emo Qingyun waved his arm and blasted a palm strike at the former. Then, a huge black palm with an imposing aura charged at Shenzhen. So powerful. Shenzhen was shocked when he was enveloped by the aura of the huge black palm. His eyes were filled with fear. He did not expect that the person who was like an ant in his eyes would be so powerful. He had made a mistake this time. He had met a ruthless character. Boom! Before Shenzhen could recover from his shock, he was hit by the huge black palm and was instantly sent flying. Bang! Shenzhen's body flew out and crashed into the wall of the mausoleum, turning into a pile of mud. When Shenzhen's body slid down, his breathing was already extremely weak. It seemed like he would be half crippled in the future. Seeing this scene, the surrounding people were all stunned. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. Am I seeing things? Is he that strong? The might of his palm strike is comparable to that of an expert of the intermediate stage of the sage realm. This young man is too monstrous. How can one's shoes not get wet if one stands by the river all the time? Shenzhen has fallen this time. After witnessing Emo Qingyun's strength, the gazes of the surrounding people immediately changed greatly. At this moment, Emo Qingyun was already someone on the same level as them in their hearts. After sending Shenzhen flying with a palm strike, Emo Qingyun did not stop and continued to walk toward the mausoleum. Emo Qingyun came to the front of the mausoleum. He ignored the Saint Array Masters and began to observe the mausoleum's array. Seeing Emo Qingyun's actions, the Saint Array Masters sneered and expressed their disdain for Emo Qingyun. Kid, don't think that you're omnipotent just because you have some ability. Array Dao is broad and profound. It's not as simple as you think. You'd better step aside obediently. Kid, I can see that your talent is not weak. If you're willing to learn Array Dao, I can take you in as an in-name disciple. We told you to get lost. Don't stand here and get in the way. Didn't you hear us? After mocking Emo Qingyun, the Saint Array Masters showed their disdain and wanted to chase Emo Qingyun away. Seeing their actions, Emo Qingyun frowned and looked at them with displeasure. He said coldly, "You can leave now. I can break through this array myself. There's no need for you to get in the way." The Saint Array Masters were immediately enraged when they heard Emo Qingyun's words. One of them blew his beard and glared at him. What kind of status did they have? They could not tolerate being looked down on by a kid. Kid, you're too arrogant. Looks like we have to teach you a lesson. We're not Shenzhen. It's definitely a mistake for you to be arrogant in front of us. Since you're young and ignorant, I can spare your life if you kowtow, admit your mistake, and cut off your own tongue. A few Saint Array Masters sneered, rubbing their fists and rubbing their palms as if they were about to attack Emo Qingyun. Emo Qingyun narrowed his eyes slightly when he saw their actions. His face slowly turned cold. He said, "Looks like you're refusing a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Since that's the case, don't blame me for being rude." The demonic star-splitting palm. As soon as Emo Qingyun finished speaking, he threw a palm strike at the few of them, blasting out a palm shadow with an even stronger aura. The Saint Array Masters immediately became shocked when they saw Emo Qingyun's palm strike. Fear flooded their faces. They never thought that Emo Qingyun had actually held back some of his strength when he attacked earlier. "Everyone, this kid is very strong. Let's work together." Fellow Taoists, please lend me a hand. We owe you a favor. If we're killed, you won't be able to enter the tomb. When the Saint Array masters blocked the attack, they did not forget to ask for help from the onlookers. When they heard the Saint Array masters' request for help, some of the people who were related to them immediately helped them block the attack. Qian Linglong and the other two did not stop these people from helping. They acted as if they were watching a show. They knew very well that with Emo Qingyun's strength, all of them together would not be able to defeat him. As such, there was no need for them to be in a hurry to attack. It would be good to let Emo Qingyun play with them. Boom! A loud sound was heard. Under Emo Qingyun's palm strike, the Saint Array masters and their helpers were all sent flying. Since the force of the palm strike was shared by everyone, they did not suffer any injuries even though they were sent flying. After witnessing Emo Qingyun's strength, the Saint Array masters did not dare to stop him anymore. They retreated to the side with a dark expression. Seeing these people's actions, Emo Qingyun smiled meaningfully. He looked at the people around him and said, "It seems like you didn't understand the meaning of my words. I told you to get out of my sight, not to watch from the side." When they heard Emo Qingyun's words, the people around him exploded again. They all looked dissatisfied. Chapter 2184. Kid, don't go too far. Do you really think we're afraid of you? Even if you're powerful, there are so many of us here. We'll exhaust you to death if we take our time. Everyone, if we join forces, this kid won't be able to contend with us. There's no need to be afraid of him. Faced with Emo Qingyun's overbearing attitude, the crowd was indignant and their faces were filled with fear. At this moment, a green-haired man walked out of the crowd while the crowd was fuming. As soon as the young man walked out of the crowd, he attracted everyone's attention and made them fearful of him. Soon after, the crowd hurriedly retreated and distanced themselves from him. I didn't expect the poison Emperor Cui Baixiong to come as well. Looks like we won't get a share of the mausoleum. Even if we don't get a share, it's the same for that kid. Cui Baixiong isn't easy to talk to. It's better for Cui Baixiong to get it than that kid. I don't like him. We're a group of Saint Stage experts. How can we be bullied by a kid at the Nine Heavens mysterious immortal stage? As the crowd retreated, they were still whispering to each other, showing their dissatisfaction with Emo Qingyun. Seeing the crowd's actions, Cui Baixiong sneered, showing his disdain for the crowd. Cui Baixiong looked at everyone with disdain. Then, he looked at Emo Qingyun with the same contempt in his eyes. He said, "Brat, from the looks of it, you seem very confident in breaking the mausoleum's array. Let's make a deal." Seeing Cui Baixiong's actions, Emo Qingyun didn't rush to interrupt him. He just looked at him indifferently. He wanted to see what this fellow was referring to when he said deal. "You've seen it too. As long as you cooperate with me, they won't dare to stop you." Cui Baixiong pointed at the people around him and said with a proud expression, "If you successfully break the formation, I'll give you a portion of the treasures in the mausoleum. This should be a good deal, right?" Hearing Cui Baixiong's words, the crowd was shocked and thought they had heard wrongly. What? Cui Baixiong wants to cooperate with that kid and give him a portion of the treasures? This kid is too lucky to encounter such a good thing. I can't accept it. Sigh. I thought there would be a good show to watch, but I didn't expect it to end like this. Humph. How could the mausoleum's array be so easy to break? I don't believe that kid can do it. Everyone was dissatisfied with Cui Baixiong's actions, and they were jealous of Emo Qingyun. In their opinion, why hadn't they encountered such a good thing before? Hearing the words of the people around him, Cui Baixiong's smile became even wider. He said, "Did you see that? Everyone agrees that my offer is very generous." As soon as Cui Baixiong finished speaking, he revealed a confident expression, as if Emo Qingyun was already in his grasp. Just as Chui Baixiong thought that Emo Qingyun would definitely agree, Emo Qingyun shook his head and said, "Your conditions are indeed very good to them, but to me it is far from enough." Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Chui Baixiong was immediately displeased. His face darkened and he said, "Kid, you should know when to stop. 10% of the treasures is already a lot. I hope you can consider it carefully." "There's no need to consider. 10% is really too little for me." Emo Qingyun shook his head and directly rejected Chui Baixiong's suggestion. He said, "I've already said that this mausoleum is mine. If you're done, leave this place immediately." Seeing Emo Qingyun's attitude, Chui Baixiong's face immediately darkened. He said coldly, "Kid, looks like you refuse a toast only to drink a forfeit. If that's the case, don't even think about getting 10% of the treasures." As Chui Baixiong said this, an obscure and terrifying force enveloped Emo Qingyun. Sensing the approaching force, Emo Qingyun's figure immediately flashed, and he quickly distanced himself from the force. Emo Qingyun's figure flashed a few times, and he retreated 1,000 meters away, avoiding the envelopment of the force. Just as Emo Qingyun dodged, a huge black hole appeared where he was. Looking at the black hole, it seemed to have been eroded by the poisonous fog. It was obvious that Chui Baixiong's poison was very powerful. "So it's a poison expert." Seeing Chui Baixiong's attack, Emo Qingyun knew what he was capable of, and a faint smile appeared on his face. Compared to Saint Energy and Soul Energy, the damage caused to his body by the poison was much smaller. Poison attacks were slow, and unlike Saint Energy and Soul Energy, it could cause destructive damage in the blink of an eye. In this way, with Emo Qingyun's Genesis Bloodline's recovery ability, he did not have to worry about being eroded by poison. "I've been discovered." Seeing Emo Qingyun dodge, Chui Baixiong's expression changed, and a look of surprise appeared on his face. He said, "Your perception is very sharp, but this is just a test. What's next is not something you can resist. You should obediently give up resisting." "Poison everywhere." Chui Baixiong clenched his fists, and a green light flashed on his fists, emitting a heart-stopping aura. Then, Chui Baixiong threw a punch at Emo Qingyun, and a ball of terrifying green fog was blasted out. This ball of green fog was blasted out, and it expanded rapidly. In the blink of an eye, it covered an area of 10 miles. Under the influence of this green fog, the surrounding vegetation immediately withered, and even some stones turned into dust. Seeing Chui Baixiong's attack, the surrounding people's expressions changed, and they quickly retreated. Of course, Qian Linglong and the other two did not move, and they looked at Chui Baixiong indifferently. Although Chui Baixiong's poison was powerful, it was not much of a threat to those who had condensed the Saint Energy Star Cluster. With their strength, as long as they activated the Saint Energy Star Cluster to resist, they would not be threatened. Qian Linglong and the other two did not move, and they immediately became conspicuous, attracting everyone's attention. The three of them are covered by the poisonous fog, but nothing happened to them at all. To think that there are 3 such experts hiding among us, we have even less of a chance to get the mausoleum. If Chui Baixiong did not make a move, it would be hard to find out that they are so powerful. The situation is getting more and more interesting. I'm afraid there will be a fierce battle next. Seeing the performance of Qian Linglong and the other two, the crowd was shocked, but at the same time they were looking forward to it. They really wanted to know who would end up in the hands of this battle for the tomb. Qian Linglong and the other two were not afraid of the poisonous fog, and so was Emo Qingyun. He was not affected by the poisonous fog. Seeing Emo Qingyun's performance, not only were the surrounding people shocked, but Chui Baixiong was also shocked. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.